You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
is nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the Play Show, yet not overly ostentatious Mandalay Bay Convention Center in beautiful Las Vegas. Here we are, day number one of Radio Row, as we get you set all the way up until kickoff on Sunday for Super Bowl 58. Zach Gelb here with you, the Zach Gelb Show, live in Las Vegas. Michael Samter has made it, Dan Silverman has made it, Frank has made it, and Stuart Kovacs, unfortunately, is back in our New York City headquarters. We're rocking and rolling today all the way up until 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. 3 p.m. Eastern is our show starting, taking you all the way up until 6 p.m. Eastern. And we got a whole lot to get to today. Mike Pritchard will stop by 20 minutes from now. Thomas Dimitroff and Eric Eager will join us at the top of the hour. And Solomon Wilcots will stop by in the final hour of the show, working on a few other things as well. As always, you give us a follow on the good old cesspool of Twitter, Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, at Zach Gelb, ZACHGELB. And you can always give us a call, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. And we'll be here for 5 straight days, obviously, Monday through Friday right here on CBS Sports Radio. And we'll give you some of the best Super Bowl coverage in the business. And I'll tell you, you come to a convention center like this with every media member in the country. I believe there's like 170-plus stations that is literally like right behind us. And you have all the big media networks here as well. And you hear like a bunch of just like baloney from so many people where everyone says the same GD thing as you lead up to this game. And the two things that you really hear the most about are with the 49ers. No one's giving them a chance because you can't bet against the great Patrick Mahomes. And I'm already just tired of that conversation and already the way that we describe Brock Purdy. And I know I'm a little persona non grata in the San Francisco 49ers fan base. I know Niners fans, they bitch and complain about me all the time on all their Reddit threads and everything because we had the whole kerfuffle, I guess is the word that I'll use, with Deebo Samuel this offseason. But I actually find myself, as we just start Super Bowl week, rooting for the San Francisco 49ers. And I think a lot of people are surprised by that. No, it's not just because Samter is some fugazi Kansas City Chiefs fan after being a Jet fan for all those years, and the Jets eventually broke him to becoming a fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. But when I look at the 49ers, it just doesn't make any sense to me where we've had a team that has been so close to winning a Super Bowl the last 5 years, and we know they were up by 10 with 7.5 to play up against the Chiefs in Miami right before the world basically shut down. And this has been a team that has just been so close, but yet so far. And they got to break through. They got to win this game coming up on Sunday, and if they don't, then you wonder, well, how much longer of a window do the San Francisco 49ers have? But you would think that the San Francisco 49ers, the way that people are talking about this game, are like a 10-point underdog. And instead, the Niners are a 2.5 point favorite. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. And I understand greatness. I know Mahomes is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. If he retired tomorrow, he would be in Canton, Ohio, in the Pro Football Hall of Fame and be one of the all-time greats. But to basically make it as if this is the Patriots up against the Packers or the Patriots up against the Bears were ways that people are talking about the San Francisco 49ers. It's just something that doesn't resonate with me. And when I hear every show around the country go, oh, what is Brock Purdy? And, is Brock Purdy really that good? And the Kansas City Chiefs, they're going to win the game just because of the fact that you have Patrick Mahomes. It just makes me want to root and pull, and I will be cheering for the San Francisco 49ers on Sunday. And I'm not anti-Kansas City. Kansas City's a great city, delicious barbecue. Patrick Mahomes is impossible to not root for and not to like. We all know the Travis Kelce storyline is big, and you want to talk about zoos tonight. This is going to be some display. I cannot wait to be at Allegiant Stadium tonight for media night, which gets underway a few hours from now, and just to see what's the proper word for this? I guess the jackassery that will occur, and the clown show and the dog and pony show that will be on full display when you do have Travis Kelce interact with all the buffoonery reporters tonight, and they all want to make their different jokes about his relationship with Taylor Swift. So that's going to be something tonight that's going to be on full display. That is an exciting part of Super Bowl week. But outside of that, leading up to this game, when you have the best team in the NFC, and they've been perceived to be, right, the best or second best team in the NFL this season, and then you have the great Patrick Mahomes with the Kansas City Chiefs as they try to finally put the flag in the ground and say that they're a dynasty, because you need 3 Super Bowls to get a dynasty. You know, really, there's not a lot of big storylines heading into this game where it's going to elicit these crazy reactions. And so far, the 2 biggest storylines have to be the whole conversation around Brock Purdy, and then it feels like, and we're going to talk to a lot of people this week, and maybe at the end of the week I'll have a different feel on this, but just being in this convention center yesterday in the afternoon and then today, you know, all throughout the day, when everyone's just chiming in and giving their 2 cents. You know, I went on a few shows today as well, and you just hear people's breakdown of the game. No one's actually, like, breaking down the game. No one's, you know, talking X's and O's and all that stuff. It's just the same old 2 things that we've now heard going back to last week and that will carry over into this week. How do you view Brock Purdy? And then also nobody, seemingly, which the way that it just feels, giving the San Francisco 49ers any shot in this game. And I've seen this enough. It would not surprise me whatsoever, clearly, that the Chiefs win coming up on Sunday. But when I have to hear now for what's going to be going on 2 weeks, how it's going to be the Chiefs, it's going to be the Chiefs, it's going to be the Chiefs, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, it kind of reminds me similarly, ironically enough, because the Chiefs that year were playing the Buccaneers led by the great Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time. It does give me similar vibes back to that Super Bowl between Patrick Mahomes and also the Kansas and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's what it reminds me of, because going into that game, no one gave, and I mean no one. I was on an island when I plus the points, took them on the money line as well, and I was predicting the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win. And that's what this feels like when we get set for the big game coming up on Sunday. Is it just feels like no one's given the 49ers a chance, and they're the favorite. They're minus money on the money line, but I feel as if every single person from all the networks, all the local shows that are here commencing on Radio Row are going to be taking Kansas City. So just the way that this game is being covered and the way that this game is being talked about is pushing me to a point where now I am not only in on the San Francisco 49ers, but I am all in on the San Francisco 49ers to win the Super Bowl. And I'll take it a step further. I hope Brock Purdy, and I love Spagnuolo. This Chiefs defense has been just so great ever since week 3, when I was like, wow, this could be their best defense that they've ever had in Kansas City. And you saw it in the AFC Championship game a week ago up against the Baltimore Ravens, when that Chiefs defense was the number 1 reason, and they were the preeminent reason why they ended up winning that football game. It was because of the way that that Chiefs defense not only contained Lamar Jackson, but shut him down and embarrassed the MVP and the 2-time eventual MVP of the NFL in Lamar Jackson. So with as great as that defense is, I am pulling that Brock Purdy exposes this defense. I am pulling that Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl MVP. And I would not mind, and I don't know if this is the best formula for them to win the game, but I would not mind if we're talking about Brock Purdy on Monday with 333 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. That is what I am pulling for. That is what I'm rooting for, because the conversation about Brock, and this is coming from someone that originally said, I thought he was a system quarterback. And who cares how you classify him? Who cares what you refer to Brock Purdy? Game manager, system quarterback, you want to call him a great quarterback? I do not care. The dude has been the right dude for the San Francisco 49ers. And for a while, the 49ers fans did annoy me. Some of it, admittedly so, was with the Deebo Samuel stuff. But then it was this year, nothing was good enough. But now I kind of see what they're so mad about. Now I kind of see their vision and why their tone has been met with so much vitriol. It's because they're getting disrespected. That's just a fact. The San Francisco 49ers heading into this game are getting disrespected. And when I don't have really a dog in a fight and I don't have a team of any rooting interest here, I got to pick a side. And that's a side that I'm going to garner to. The team that is the favorite in the game, but you would think that they are some 7th seed that just backed their way into the playoffs where no one, and I mean no one, I may be on an island, as crazy as this is, for a team that's a favorite, for a team that has been consistently there the last 4 or 5 years. I feel as if I am on an island begging someone to join me on the island and take the San Francisco 49ers in this game. I've been struggling the last week. My big gut has been telling me the 49ers are going to win the game. My brain's telling me what everyone else is saying. Oh, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. You can't bet against Andy Reid and Travis Kelce. Oh, the NFL is rigged. Taylor Swift, of course. She's gonna get that Super Bowl ring, right? She's going to be in the luxury box. It's going to be awesome. You have Taylor Swift on the field after the game, smoochy with Travis Kelce and all that stuff. That's what everyone wants to see. I don't want to see it. It's nothing anti-Taylor Swift. I like Taylor Swift. Swifties, don't come after me. But it's every single media member that just says the same damn thing. Oh, Brock Purdy. How do you talk? Like, how many times are we going to sit here this week and ask a guest, how do you classify Brock Purdy? Is he a game manager? Is he a system quarterback? Is he a good quarterback? Enough. I want to pull my hair out. Like, it's just absurd. It is ridiculous. And nothing's changing from now until Sunday. And we all know what happens on Sunday. Brock Purdy plays his butt off. They win. All right, he'll get his moment. They lose the game. Oh, you're going to have people saying, oh, is Kyle Shanahan going to replace the San Francisco 49ers? So the coverage of the Super Bowl, if you can't tell in the last 10 minutes, it has agitated me already. It has annoyed me. I'm in Las Vegas. I should be in a great mood. We're staying in a casino. I haven't lost any money yet at the roulette table, at the blackjack table. I should be in a wonderful mood. Had a great dinner last night. Had some good chicken, some lobster mac and cheese, some cream spinach as well. Like, I am in a good mood. But then I walk around and I have my ear right to the ground, and I'm listening to what everyone's saying because I can't avoid myself when I'm in these situations. And I should just keep my head down and just keep on walking, but I listen to what every single person says. And I may have to put out a search committee. I want to know if anyone else is going to join me in taking the San Francisco 49ers in this game. All righty. Moist Mike, I got to get to you because I know that you are Mr. Kansas City Chief. I already saw you kind of rubbing elbows with the Kansas City affiliate out here. You're just already massaging Mahomes and Kelce and Andy Reid. You want to go get Andy Reid a cheeseburger that maybe you'll bring him to media night tonight. You'll give him a nice big fat juicy burger. Do you feel this as well, what I'm feeling right now? I know you embrace it because you're our resident degenerate Kansas City Chiefs fan, and I know that you are pulling for your Kansas City Chiefs, and I do feel wrong because I picked against Kansas City in the first round. I picked against Kansas City in the second round. I picked against Kansas City in the third round. I'm picking against them right now, so why not? You'll notice my gambling strategy the next few days. When I lose, just keep on doubling down until you basically run out of the funds and know when to walk away. I'm not ready to walk away on the Niners. I think the Niners are winning this game, but it's amazing. You would think with the 49ers being the better team on paper that this is David and Goliath and that the Niners have no chance, which is just, it's crazy to me.
I mean, listen, obviously I'm going to disagree that the Niners are the better team on paper. Yeah, they have more talent, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the quarterback, and I'll trust Mahomes over Purdy any day of the week. I get why people are betting on the Chiefs. I understand that people might think that the 49ers are better, but they want to bet on the Chiefs. At the end of the day, it feels like a pick'em to me. It feels like it's up in the air. I don't think either team, at least not from what I've heard, is getting overly disrespected. Anybody who's picking the Chiefs...
Oh, you just got in last night. That's why you haven't heard the same dribble that I've heard.
See, I'm not hearing, though, that people are disrespecting the Niners. I think the people who are picking the Chiefs over the Niners are only doing so because of the pedigree of Andy Reid, Mahomes, and that team. So it's not like the 49ers can't do this. I don't think there's any disrespect being lobbied at the 49ers. I think it's just kind of like whenever the Patriots were in the Super Bowl, you just always gave them this benefit of the doubt, no matter who they were playing, no matter what the talent discrepancy was between the two teams. And I think that's kind of the case here. I don't see any teams getting disrespected. At the end of the day, the Chiefs are going to win the game. It's just a matter of how close it's going to be. And I think it's going to be a really tight game. I think everybody's expecting a tight game. I'm not hearing anybody talk about a blowout. I'm not hearing anybody talk about the 49ers can't contend. It's just, that.
But when push comes to shove, I know this is not going to be true what I'm about to say. In terms of the actual percentage. Some math nerds will try to tell me otherwise. It feels as if 95% of the people are picking Kansas City.
Well, it's easy to say feels like because, unless you're going around to every single station, every single affiliate.
I talk to them all.
Yeah. Every single show.
Man, love you.
Listening to every show on ESPN, CBS, Fox, hearing every single pundit. It's easy to kind of pinpoint what you're hearing, but at the end of the day, I would be surprised if by the end of the week we're not at like a 55-45, fairly close 50-50 type split.
Imagine if I just get up, because I have a very loud voice and I could project, and all the stations are right behind us. Imagine if I just stood up right now and screamed at the top of my lungs, who's picking the 49ers to win? I think outside of the San Francisco Bay Area stations, we would not have a lot of hands. Those hands would not be raised very high, because most people are just saying, can't trust Brock Purdy. It's Patrick Mahomes in a big game. Got to take him. Mahomes did lose Super Bowl. All right? He's lost Super Bowl. Brady lost 3. Right? It is possible, and that's what makes me pull for the 49ers in this game. All righty, we'll take a time out here on Radio Row. Mike Pritchard going to join us on the other side. We are live for the next 5 days in Las Vegas. We'll try to not get into too much trouble as the week does go on. I'm very afraid of Samter on this trip, by the way. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to have to take some money out of my paycheck and bail out Samter at some point because he's going to be up to no good as the week does continue to roll on. All right, we'll come on back in 5. Zach Gelb Show. But where else? CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Now back to the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, back inside the Convention Center, Mandalay Bay, Las Vegas. Super Bowl week is here, and now joining us, played in the NFL, lives in Las Vegas right now. Got to tell us where to eat. Got to probably tell us where to go so we don't get into too much trouble this weekend. Some trouble, but not too much trouble. He, of course, is Mike Pritchard from VEASAN. Mike, great to see you as always. How are you?
Zach, I'm great. More importantly, tell you where not to go. How about that?
Yeah.
Where to stay away from, what areas to stay away from. But great to be with you. Still can't believe my hometown is hosting a Super Bowl.
You know, it's so bizarre because 5 years ago, you couldn't talk gambling at all.
Couldn't mention it. Yeah.
And now, if you don't talk gambling, someone's like, what's wrong with you? In the sports media landscape. But to see, and hey, anytime you come to Las Vegas, you're going to have a good time, and you're going to leave, and you're going to be like, I need to like eat a salad the next week. I need to go to the gym 5-6 days a week. But now in the sports world being here, you know, I'm going to the game Sunday. I'm going to the Golden Knights game on Tuesday. I'm excited. You have a baseball team coming here as well. We know the Raiders are here. It's awesome that now the sports world, even though the players can't gamble, they have embraced the teams being there.
Right, Zach, what you just said and what you just laid out, I mean, think about that. If you want to visit Vegas right now, that you got all those options from a sporting standpoint. We're growing up here, all I had was UNLV. I mean, that was our pro team, right? The Running Rebels or Randall Cunningham in the football team. But no, things have changed, and rightly so it should. It's about time. When I was a player in the league, the NFL, they would scare the bejesus out of us in terms of gambling and sports betting and bookmakers and kind of staying away from certain elements when you do visit Vegas. Now it's all open, but I think if you're a current player, you got to watch what you do. But as a retired player, I mean, it has been phenomenal, eye-opening for me. as the NFL has partnered up with sports betting.
I know that there's been some issues in the NFL. We all saw what happened with the Lions before the start of the season. You go back to Calvin Ridley, right? That was the first big example. I'm not really, though, concerned about professional athletes gambling. It's more so college athletes, because when you have a football team, you got 100, 125 guys on the roster. If I'm a guy like 100, $125, and you have some information, that wouldn't shock me if there's more college issues than pro issues.
I agree with you 1,000%. I mean, you're going to have your outliers, I think, when it comes to the National Football League, guys that think they can get away with things. I'll quickly remind an NFL player, say, look, man, we got 51-49 revenue sharing right now with the National Football League. Why you want to risk that because of gambling right now when you're a player? Don't do it. You can enjoy the benefits and the partnership of sports betting with the revenue sharing. Do it that way, right? But you're right. I mean, I think on the college levels, there's so little policing in a lot of areas when it comes to college football, right? I don't know if the NCAA even has the authority like they used to. So you got a lot of players, like you said, deep on the roster that, you know what, I'm not getting any play, but I might know some information. I might get hit up. But that comes back to education. I think coaches and departments in schools, they're going to have to do a great job of awareness and educating these athletes, though.
Mike Pritchard here with us, does a great job now with VSiN. So I'm already tired of the conversation leading up to the game, because everyone says the two same things, which is, how do you want to refer to Brock Purdy as? And then the other part, you can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, the great Patrick Mahomes. So don't get me wrong. We all know how great Patrick Mahomes is, but the great players have lost some big games as well. Mahomes has already lost one Super Bowl.
Right.
Where are you at on this game? Because it does feel like everyone's going Kansas City.
Well, no, it does feel that way. They're so familiar. Like they run the same scheme. You look at the tree that they both come from, Andy Reid, Mike Holmgren's tree, Mike Shanahan, and then certainly his son Kyle. And they all emanated out of San Francisco, right? That's where it all began with Bill Walsh. But they have different versions of what they want to do. To me, I take it away from the quarterbacks and I go defense. Peyton Manning came out and said that he thinks there's going to be a lot of offense. And you look at the quarterbacks and the way Brock is playing, I can see that. But you have Spags on one side, you have Wilkes on the other, and you have some monsters on the defense side of the ball for both teams. I don't know how those guys let this game slip away from them. In other words, where there is a lot of offense, there is a lot of playmaking offensively. I know a lot of people want to see that and suggest that, but I think there's a lot of playmakers on the defense side of the ball as well. So this is going to be a tighter game, and if it's a tighter game, then I think you favor the experience in Patrick Mahomes.
And it's interesting because before the start of the season, everyone talked about the Niners' defense. No one talked about the Chiefs' defense. And in week 3, I texted Spags, I go, you guys have a legit good defense, and it's not getting talked about. And he kind of played it off as, I'm good when no one's talking about us, let all the attention go in other places. But the last 2 weeks, and I'm picking the Niners in this game, but the last 2 weeks, the Niners defense has not been great. It's not played clean. And Kansas City's defense just keeps on humming and humming and humming, and no one talks about their defense.
Sure. I mean, I think from a betting standpoint, like if I'm betting this game, I'm probably going to tease it because now I'm getting through where the spread is right now. I can get through multiple possessions. I can get through to two possessions, really. Everybody thinks it's going to be a tight game. The probability suggests that. So teasing it and finding another leg or a couple legs if you want to is something attractive to me. But no, I agree with you. San Francisco, and if you go all the way back to the beginning of the year, there was probably 4 teams you thought were going to be in the Super Bowl, right? It's going to be San Francisco or Dallas, maybe the Eagles, or maybe Dallas or Eagles over Dallas. But then in the AFC, it was going to be Kansas City, maybe Baltimore, or whoever was going to surge through. But no, I think we're getting the matchup everybody expected to get, that I think everybody wants to see. It is a rematch in some sorts, in some ways, some fashion, but you cannot predict a football game. NFL is so special because you can't predict a football game. And I think it's going to play out that way. I think we're going to get a lot of drama in this one.
So I know you played for the Broncos. The whole Sean Payton thing, it's now inevitable that eventually they'll just release him at some point this offseason. Where do you think Russ is playing next year?
Zach, his roots are in Carolina, North Carolina State, if you want to go there. There's so many teams that need quarterbacks. We saw the last 2 years so many backup quarterbacks, right? And the desperation to get a franchise quarterback or to get that type of quarterback in your locker room is at a fever pitch right now. Atlanta makes some sense.
Minnesota jumps out to
Minnesota definitely jumps out,
and don't get me wrong, I think Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback.
Right.
But I don't think they're bringing back Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I know. Whose contract? Well, he doesn't have a contract right now, so you got Russell's contract. But I mentioned Carolina because I think Bryce needs to take a timeout.
Ooh, interesting.
I think Bryce Young needs a timeout. That guy was drinking through a fire hose last year. And it cost Frank Wright his job. It cost the GM their job. I mean, that's not somebody's fault. I just think maybe he didn't marinate long enough, right? And I think if you take a page out of Patrick Mahomes, he sat back a whole year to kind of understand what this league's about, and now he's taking the league by storm. If Bryce is really that talented, maybe he needs an example in front of him. And at this point with Russell, that's where he's at in his career. I don't think a Super Bowl caliber team would look to sign Russell Wilson as their starting quarterback.
But when you are a number 1 overall pick and you already played, there is no way they are benching you. There is no way they're going to sit you for a full season and bring in someone, even though his stock is not high right now, the caliber of Russell Wilson. I know people would say, you got to be mentally tough. I think that would ruin his entire confidence.
It could, or they're not going to be good next year either, right? I'm thinking of Russell, and Russell wants to get to the Hall of Fame right now. That's all he's about, I think. And you're not going to win really in Carolina. But if you're Bryce, what are you going to learn as now you have a first-time head coach? I mean, green head coach, really, if you think about Canales. And I know he's got a relationship with Morgan, the GM, and maybe they can structurally put this team together, but how long is that going to take? You're looking beyond this initial contract for Bryce Young.
And you have an owner that, quite frankly, there's nothing positive to say about David Tepper.
Who pretty much is the head coach of the team, I think.
He has his hands in everything.
Oh.
He is the guy, I've said this before a bunch. He owns the restaurant. He's never cooked a meal, though, in his life. And he goes to the chef, Mike Pritchard, and says, yeah, I know how to cook the chicken parm when the chef has been cooking the best chicken parm for 20 years.
Right,
That's
right.
Tepper.
That's great. That's a great analogy.
That's why they get Dave Canales as the head coach.
Yeah.
Nothing against him.
Or Morgan as a GM who, Morgan, I don't know how thick his book was in terms of searching for head coaches, right?
He's got some pictures of Tepper. Let's be real. That's how he got the job.
Yeah, but who is he going to hire as head coach? He doesn't really have any experience with anybody else other than what he did in Seattle. And so, yeah, that's what you get down there in Carolina right now.
Belichick, I know you also played for the Falcons. We all thought he was going to go there. And then I think a lot of people in the building said, well, if Bill comes in, we're going to lose our job, so let's tell Arthur Blank not to hire him. And Arthur Blank, listen, was that a mistake to not hire Bill Belichick?
Yes, just like it was a mistake not to go after Lamar Jackson last year. Arthur Blank comes out and says, and I love the owner, but he comes out and says, look, we're not interested in Lamar Jackson. What?
After they were interested in Deshaun. Just remind everyone.
Exactly. But, the whole guaranteed contract thing, you can work around that. But that guy would have elevated your franchise. Hell, he's going to win MVP. Who knows with that offensive talent what could have happened this year. But you close the door on that. Now he's closed the door on Belichick and that brain trust, right? I think here's the thing, Zach. When you're a player, each and every year you're afraid that they're going to upgrade your position. I remember vividly with Seattle, and Randy Moss was going to get drafted. And you're looking at that TV, you're watching that TV with intensity that, okay, as Seattle Seahawks, are they going to draft Randy Moss, who's still on the board, by the way, because he was going to upgrade, he was going to take your job, and you knew that. I think as a front office personnel, you need to approach your job as if somebody can come in and take your job. You can be somebody, they can upgrade your position if there's somebody out there. And I think Atlanta missed that opportunity to upgrade their entire front office with Bill Belichick.
Last thing I'll ask you, Mike Pritchard from VSiN, on a scale of 1 to 10, where's your confidence at with your alma mater, Colorado, with Coach Prime?
It was at a 5 last year. I bet the over win total to hit that. I think
had to sweat it out.
I did a little bit.
It was looking like a lock in week 3.
Right, we got there though. Here's the thing about Coach Prime and what he's done. Our program was not even relevant for a long time.
Brings attention.
Sure. So he brought attention. We have relevancy now, and we got better athletes. I think the hard work is over because he's changed the mindset. Right, he's changed the culture. He's built a culture now. So now the easy part is coaching these 4- and 5-star athletes. And I think any head coach in college football will let you know that if I can get those type of players, we're going to be successful. So I think the wins are going to come they're going to add up and they're going to come big time in the future.
I saw your guys' setup in Circa last night when I was going out for dinner in Veasan. Seems like everything's going well with you guys.
You know what? We are humming. Veasan.com/subscribe if you want to be interested in our material. We got so many handicappers. I've learned so much in the 4 years I've been with Veasan in terms of betting. I no longer try to predict the game. It's all about probabilities, and I use that to.
You're an analytic guy now.
I am.
Jeez, I don't know.
I'm not all the way there now.
You handed in your football man card. It sounds like.
No, I still carry that one. But the insight, I can't ignore what a lot of people have brought to light to me for in terms of sports betting. But it's phenomenal partnership with DraftKings as well. So couldn't be happier.
So I put a bet in $100 plus 411, Kittle anytime touchdown. Right. And then Kelsey anytime touchdown. Sure. You in on that?
I love that. I have Juszczyk as the anytime touchdown. I love the anytime touchdown, especially if you want to parlay them because they start to add up and stack up for you. But I haven't went too deep with anytime touchdown. I did hit Jameson Williams on a anytime touchdown.
It's like roulette.
It is. It really is. But when it hits, though, it's awesome.
It's electric.
Right? Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to bet these days.
Me too.
Anyway, he is Mike Pritchard. Mike, thanks for coming by.
Thanks a lot, Zach.
It is Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio. We'll take a timeout. We'll come on back live from Las Vegas on Radio Row. After these short messages, we'll get into a little Kyle Shanahan clarifying his Tom Brady comments to Peter King. Update time first. Here is the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
And it's brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $750 on average. Call or click today to find out if they could save you hundreds on your car insurance. The frenzied Super Bowl Media Week begins shortly with the Chiefs first up to meet the media before the 49ers get their moment in the spotlight. And many on these two teams are certainly familiar with the experience. The Chiefs making their fourth appearance in the last 5 years. Le'Veon Bell is 31 and thinks he has something left and is reportedly interested in a comeback and only with the Steelers. Bell hasn't played since 2021. He last played in Pittsburgh in 2017. The Royals have locked up shortstop Bobby Witt Jr., giving him the largest contract in franchise history, 11 years, $290 million. The Lakers have had an impressive run on the East Coast the last 2 days, winning in Boston and snapping the Knicks' 9-game winning streak Saturday. They look to continue their good stretch tonight in Charlotte. LeBron James said they can't let up against the 10-win Hornets.
We've had back-to-back great wins, one in Boston, one here. Two of the hottest teams in the league. And, we finished it off in Charlotte, and we have to be professional and understanding that at the end of the day, that is an NBA team, and if we don't come to play, they will beat us.
The Cavaliers look to make it 6 straight against the Sacramento Kings. I'm Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Now back to the Zach Gelb Show.
You can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL Live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Zach Gelb Show, CBS Sports Radio, live. Mandalay Bay Convention Center, Las Vegas, Super Bowl 58. We continue to work through the week before on Sunday we get the little football game played between the San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. So 2-3 weeks ago, an article comes out, and buried in the middle of the article, it's almost like ESPN didn't want the publicity. ESPN didn't want the headlines. It was kind of surreal to me that in the middle of the article, it was revealed that Tom Brady was pursued this offseason by the San Francisco 49ers. Now, when you have a story like that, I don't care what the intentions of the actual story was. When you get it revealed that Kyle Shanahan told Brock Purdy that he was going to go pursue Tom Brady this offseason and he was going to be the guy for the future, but as Shanahan even said, Purdy's arm was in a sling, and it was one of those scenarios where he didn't even know if he was going to have a quarterback for this season, or if his starting quarterback is going to be ready for the season, so they were going to give Tom Brady a call. It's crazy to me that story didn't elicit a bigger reaction, or it wasn't portrayed initially when the story came out, that the 49ers pursued Tom Brady. And give credit to Mike Flory. I've seen that he's been floating around here. He was kind of like one of the only guys that was talking about it and delved through the article and revealed to us that was the case with the 49ers. So last week, Brady goes on one of those car wash tours. He goes on with a bunch of shows, and people asked him about it. I think it was McAfee's show that asked him about it. But it was basically a non-answer by Tom Brady. Tom Brady has perfected the non-answer. When you ask him something, he doesn't give you the answer. And that's why some people are skeptical whether Brady's broadcasting career is going to be successful or not. But today, or I guess over the weekend, it was like a drive to work series that Peter King was doing with Good Morning Football. And he was driving to work with Kyle Shanahan. And Kyle Shanahan said, yes, I was serious about it. Shanahan told Peter King, as we talked, I'm looking at Brock, and he's got his arm in the sling, and I'm really not sure I've got a quarterback who's going to be ready for the start of the season. That started all of this. And it went on to say that, from Kyle Shanahan to Peter King, I actually thought it was giving Brock the biggest compliment. I let him know he's our guy long term, no question. And if Tom Brady wanted to come here and start for 1 year, that's the only way you are not starting when you're healthy this year. That's pretty cool. I wanted to assure him, don't worry, you're our guy. But how cool would it be if Tom Brady would be the quarterback here for one season? How cool would it be for you to learn from him? So, let me just ask this. I don't think if I'm Brock Purdy, I'm like, yeah, this is cool. Yeah, this is awesome that they'd be bringing in Tom Brady. Like, Santa, could you imagine? Let's say that we go back to your earlier days in the radio producing business. And let's say that you're producing the show that you wanted to produce. There's a joke here that you can make, so not this show. No, I'm just kidding. So let's just say earlier in your radio career, you're producing like the show, and you have a team that could go win Marconi Awards and really have a lot of success. And then the program director comes up to you and goes, you're good at what you do. You're our guy for the future. But I don't know, we're going to bring in Baba Booey, right? Howard Stern's producer, one of the legendary producers of all time. And he's going to do your job for the year, and you're going to learn from him when you already produce championship quality producing performance. Would you expect, even with the aura and the success and the fame and the greatness that Baba Booey has, should I expect you to be like, yeah, I'm all for it, I'm fine getting replaced for a year, when someone comes in to basically show you the way when you were already the guy, but now they're saying, we still like you, but you're the guy for the future, not the guy now?
I mean, if he was Baba Booey, I'd be pissed because, I don't know what he can teach me. No, but
I can teach you a lot.
if they brought in like a multi-Emmy award-winning, legendary producer who has put together the best radio shows in history and has won awards and is critically acclaimed, listen, it's a learning experience. Would I have a little bit of a hit to my ego? Sure. But if I knew that it was only for 1 year and I can learn legitimate stuff that can make me a better producer, make my shows better, at the end of the day, I would, as long as I'm not taking less money, as long as I'm not, going to get fired the next year, as long as it's literally just, you're going to be here, we just want you to learn from the greatest that there's ever been, and then you get your job back, I think that after the initial shock of it, I'd be okay with it.
But what's to say? And I know they preface this as if this was going to be a one-year arrangement. What happens if Tom gets the call? Tom wins a Super Bowl, and then Tom goes, I'm still at the top of my game. I thought I could play until like I'm 50 to begin with, and everyone at first said he was crazy. What stops him from playing the next year? And that's the part. Like, I love Mike Pritchard, who just joined us. He advocated for maybe Russell Wilson to go to the Carolina Panthers and play a year to have Bryce Young learn and Bryce Young basically be put in a timeout. When you have already been the guy, or you have been told this is going to be your franchise, whether it's Bryce Young with the Panthers or Brock Purdy, who stepped into the role with the San Francisco 49ers last year and had a lot of success and the belief of the locker room, once you take yourself or get taken off the field, you lose luster. You lose that title of being the guy. And you never know, regardless what they tell you, if you will ever be that guy again. So that's why, from a Brock Purdy's perspective, yeah, I get it. You can get it. Oh, it's Tom Brady. All right, that's the one name where I would be fine. But I'm not saying I should accept it. I would be fighting for my job because, there's always these times where you get a job and people go, I don't know if he's ready. I don't know if this person's going to succeed early on. It may be a long-term investment. Bleep that. When you get thrown into a position, go be the guy and go make sure that they're never going to take you off the field or take you off the radio or take you off whatever profession that you're involved in. That's just my philosophy because, when I started doing radio from 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern, people go, oh, that's a different show than if you were an afternoon. I treat it as if I was doing the number one morning show in the country or the number one afternoon show in the country. When you get afforded a platform, you got to kind of build your own sandbox and then see who else wants to join it throughout the rest of the year and throughout the rest of the time. And also the crazy part to me too, Mike, is that this is the same guy, Shanahan, who had also came out over the weekend, right, when Jed York was talking to the media, how over a year ago, in training camp, Kyle Shanahan said, you guys know Brock Purdy's the best quarterback that we have on the roster. The third-string quarterback. And that was right after they initially traded for Trey Lance. Shortly after that, you had Jimmy G, who's been to a Super Bowl, but we know that Kyle Shanahan was not a believer in Jimmy G, because if he was, he would have never traded up 3 first-round picks to go secure the services of Trey Lance. And could you imagine Jed York when he heard that? And even John Lynch said, he goes, I couldn't believe he actually said it. He goes, I knew he thought it, but sometimes, right, like Samter and I have some conversations, and I'll lower my voice here because our bosses are right across from us, that maybe you just don't say to the bosses, and it's just a conversation that you have coworker to coworker. But the fact that Kyle Shanahan walks into that meeting with Jed York swinging his you-know-what around, and he goes, hey, the best quarterback on our roster is the third-string quarterback. He's lucky I'm not owning the team, because as good as Kyle Shanahan is, I think I would have fired Kyle's butt on the spot. I think I would have said, get out. We just traded 3 first-round picks for Trey Lance. So that's also the crazy part to me.
There's a fine line between genius and arrogance, and I guess Kyle Shanahan is kind of towing that line. But listen, I guess he's a genius. You could be really arrogant and think, hey, we might have to go with our third-string quarterback.
Well,
but he was right. At the end of the day, he was right. He was the best quarterback.
Or is it just the truth? Because,
right. Like I said, genius and arrogance is a fine line, and he is right there with it.
Since we're talking about Brady and this whole 49ers story that Shanahan gave more clarity to after Brady wouldn't talk about it after it came out last week, when Belichick was in New England, Bledsoe was the highest-paid quarterback in football. $100+ million contract, just signed it. A lot of people close to Belichick said, even before Bledsoe got hurt, Brady's the best quarterback on this roster, and he believed in Brady. And that's kind of just compelling when you follow the parallels to that story. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant. Brady drafted in the 6th round. I know it's a low-hanging fruit. I'm not comparing Brock Purdy to Tom Brady, but it's wild now with the Shanahan revelation how confident he was in some extent to Brock, unless it was Brady coming in, that was the way that the whole thing is going down. And also, let's remember, Kyle Shanahan a few years ago, Brady wanted to go there before he went to Tampa Bay, and Shanahan and John Lynch, they openly admitted it. They evaluated it for 2 to 3 days, and they eventually said, no, we're going to stick with Jimmy G because he was just coming off that Super Bowl loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. So it's a wild story in both ways, that they actually really did pursue Brady. Brady then said no, and then they tried to spin it a positive to Brock Purdy, or from the start to Brock Purdy. But then a year before that conversation even went down, they were really confident in Brock Purdy, when no one even knew, unless you're an Iowa State fan, who Brock Purdy was. Just wild, wild stuff. It's time to Ask the Pros, where you, the listener, gets to ask us a question, and it's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at CBS Sports Radio or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag AskThePros. Be listening later in the show when we might answer the question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent, and I mean excellent, customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. We will take a time out. When we come on back, former NFL general manager Thomas Dimitroff will join us on set, and also my brother-in-law may be the biggest fan of our guest that's going to be joining Thomas Dimitroff from Sumer Sports, and Eric Eager. So Thomas Dimitroff, Eric Eager are joining us next on the Zach Gelb Show live in Las Vegas on Radio Row.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, underway hour number 2 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on CBS Sports Radio, 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. We are live on location all throughout the week in Las Vegas, inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. You have Maggie and Perloff broadcasting from here later in the week, Amy Lawrence as well, and obviously our show Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. Eastern, noon to 3 p.m. Pacific. We'll be joined momentarily by Thomas Dimitroff, former NFL general manager, and then Eric Eager, who does a great job running Sumer Sports. And this is the epicenter of the football world this week, clearly with one more game to be played, Super Bowl 58. And I'm at the point already, even though it's only Monday, and you should enjoy your time in Las Vegas because before you know, you're going back to New York City, where, let's be real, the weather here in Las Vegas is not good this week. It is rainy for 3 days while we're here. Monday today, rain. Tomorrow, expected rain. Wednesday, expected rain as well. And we're going to have some great shows, some big names, and I mean big names, from Justin Jefferson to Joe Montana, expected to stop by as the week does continue to move along. And you know how it is. Monday, usually a little bit slow at the site of the Super Bowl. Tuesday as well. And then once Wednesday occurs, man, this is just shot out of a cannon. You are off and running, and it is some wild stuff that does occur at the Super Bowl location. And tonight, I think this is the most excited I've been for an opening night, for a media night in Super Bowl history. Like, we all remember Marshawn Lynch when he did the whole "I'm just here so I don't get fined" thing, and he would not really answer any questions. I'll never forget Spike Eskin, our boss's father, Howard Eskin, was trying to ask legitimate questions to Marshawn Lynch at opening night, and he just got absolutely nothing. But the circus that is going to occur tonight at Allegiant Stadium, because that's where they're doing the media night, right where the Super Bowl game is being played this year, there's going to be no one that's in more demand than Travis Kelce. And that's like a crazy thing to say, even though it isn't, because we all know what's going to bring a lot of people together, whether you're a football fan or not. It's the relationship status of one Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And I don't think this is crazy to say because it has nothing to do with the game and the numbers back it up. It's by far and away the biggest story of this Super Bowl. Like on the Chiefs side, you have, if you want to take away the Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift relationship, it is Mahomes continuing to move up the all-time great list. Some have already prematurely and disrespected Tom Brady by saying that Mahomes is the greatest quarterback ever. That is just a premature conversation at this point. But that's the story with the Chiefs. If you take Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift out of it, it is Kansas City, 3 Super Bowls in 5 years, moving up the Mahomes ranking and solidifying themselves as the next NFL dynasty. And then on the 49ers side, it's just getting the job done. The Niners have been here. They have been in NFC championship games. They were in a Super Bowl back in early January or early February of 2020. And now it's putting the cherry on top of the sundae, because when you get so close for so many years and you've been knocking on that door, and a lot of people probably wouldn't think that the Niners would take a step back and would regress next season. But when you have been right there and you haven't won, there is a mental grind. And you even heard it. I was in the Kansas City locker room after they won the AFC Championship game. Even Andy Reid admitted to it. When you are in these battles and you are in these wars and you are playing long into the NFL schedule and you're usually in that final game, or bare minimum the second to final game of the season, your offseason gets cut short. Your offseason, yeah, it's you know, I get it, penthouse problems. You're in the penthouse. You'd rather be winning than being a bunch of losers. But when that does all go down and you have just consistently been there, there is a mental grind to it that does occur. So it's one of those things where from the 49ers side, you keep on getting here, you keep on getting close. Now you got to get the job done, and now you got to finish the job. And they're right there. They're at the 5-yard line, and it's going to be a tough final 5 yards to get to, but they are more than capable of getting the job done coming up on Sunday, and that's going to be those are the two big things when you look at it from a broad standpoint. And then it's just Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, and you know that's going to dominate and I mean absolutely dominate tonight at opening night. And you're going to have so many crazy people asking crazy questions and not making any sense and trying to be the funniest person in the room when they do get a chance to fire off a few questions to Travis Kelce coming up later tonight. And now joining us on set, Sumer Sports, tremendous job, former NFL general manager Thomas Dimitroff, and then also Eric Eager as well. And Thomas, I know like a lot of people are excited to talk to you, and I'm not saying that I don't want to talk to you, but my brother-in-law is the biggest, and I mean biggest, Eric Eager fan. Every single time he comes in from Colorado with the baby and all that stuff, and we're driving around the car, I have to listen. And I know Eric Eager. I love Eric Eager. I'm a fan. But it's like I can't escape Eric Eager because that's all my brother-in-law does. Like, he doesn't even talk to us. He just listens to Eric Eager's podcast. It's crazy. So how you doing, Eric?
That make me blush.
You're getting
great.
red?
Yeah, I'm doing great.
Eric Eager may have to come out to a Gelb family dinner, I think. You may have to come over to Thanksgiving.
I gladly would.
Yeah.
Gladly would.
No, look, I mean, Eric has been kicking butt at so many levels, as you know, just like you led in. It's perfect. Even our booker was like, hey, T, I know people are wanting you to hear, but, I mean, Eric, they want him alone these days. I'm like, that's fine. Take it, man. And as you know, we love being together because every time I can kind of do the broad stroke deal, and then Eric, I toss it to him, and then he finishes it with a really good pop of data. What do you expect from a PhD in mathematics? But he's quick to say he's also a football player from like Mankato State. I'm sorry, Minnesota.
South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Yeah. Minnesota State.
That's right.
So, analytics standpoint, because I like analytics. I don't live and die by them. I am a gut guy when it comes to football. I want to hear your thoughts on Dan Campbell. This is what I've been waiting to ask you as we got here. This is like the number one thing on my mind this week with you. Dan Campbell, NFC title game. Take me through the two decisions to go for it.
I think they were both supported by data. I mean, Dan Campbell this year, we measured this at Sumer Sports. He added 1.04 wins to the Lions ledger by fourth down decisions, 2-point conversion decisions, timeout stuff. You know, in the game against the Rams, at the end of the game, the Lions had all their timeouts. The Rams had none of them left. They were able to hold the ball. I think Campbell has done a great job of marrying the football side. I think about, Penei Sewell being one of his first draft pick and looking at him and being at 4th and 2 the whole season. And I'm going to take all the numbers out of it. 4th and 2. The entire season, you've run the ball on 3rd and 7 to set up 4th and 2 so that you can run behind your number 7th overall pick out of Oregon. And I don't get the people who are saying you do that all year, and then in the big game, you're going to say, no, Penei, I'm going to take Michael Badgley and now try to tie this game from 48 yards. He hasn't kicked an outdoor field goal all year. I think it's part of their identity, and I think what it does is it leans into their strength, which is at the line of scrimmage on offense. Jared Goff's had a really good renaissance in his career, but for the most part, they've built that team the Dan Campbell way, and in this really weird roundabout way, the Dan Campbell way marries itself with the analytics, because if you're great at the line of scrimmage, you're going to be great on 4th down.
I don't know what your thoughts were, Thomas, on this, but the way that I looked at it, as Thomas Dimitroff and Eric Eager are here with us from Sumer Sports, the first one, when they were up by 14, I'm okay keeping the foot on the gas pedal and going for it. That one I didn't really object to. It was the second one. You blew the lead. You're down by 3. Everything you just said makes sense. I'm not debating the analytics of it. But just from a momentum feel, I'd rather kick the 48-yard field goal than go for it on the 2 yards. It's frustrating with what this has turned into because it is divisive.
Yeah.
Analytic crowd, football guy crowd, and it gets ugly. There's a lot of fights that go on.
I have to say I agree with you 100%. Sorry, Eric.
It's
I said it over there.
We can respectfully disagree.
No, look, we can. I mean, I think.
I don't know. In this world, it's just yelling, and I'm right, you're wrong, and then there's no discourse.
What's your brother think? Yeah, I mean, look, maybe. But look, I think it's funny you say that because I go back to there's always something else around it. Someone asked me at one of the other places, was there someone upstairs saying, no, that's how it is, right? Yeah. We know how that is. Do you want to expound on that?
Well, so most teams have a person, like a coach. So for the Ravens, the guy's name's Daniel Stern. Actually, one of my former interns is one of the analytics people for the Lions. They have a guy named Caio Brignetti who works for them. Oftentimes it's feel, but I think a lot of times they do the preparation pregame so that Campbell knows kind of intuitively what to do. NFL teams can't use an algorithm during the games. Like, you're not allowed to use computers, so it's either sometimes a printout or they just go through different stuff with him pregame. So I don't know how the Lions do it necessarily, but oftentimes it's part of the pregame prepper. Hey, you're in this position. What are you doing? And oftentimes you're right. You can't permute through all the various. Okay, we've given up a 17-point lead. What the heck are we doing here? And so maybe in that case, the momentum. Maybe they didn't permute through all the possibilities momentum-wise.
Maybe this is just dumb football meathead guy like myself, and maybe I just don't understand it. Did the analytics ever say to not go for it? Because when I watch a game and they put up the analytics say go for it, I never see them say punt it anymore. It's crazy to me.
Well, I think that they just don't put it up, because I actually, like 3 years ago, I worked for Troy Aikman on Fox, and I was the one sending the probabilities to him. And they do say don't go for it all the time. I think it's just that
interesting.
That is our base, our null hypothesis. So they're not going to put that on air because it's just sort of not
boring.
Sexy and it's boring.
Yeah.
But I do think, like, for example, the one at the end of the first half where it's 4th and 2, I think, right before the half.
Yeah, with like 10 seconds left.
And so a lot of people are like, field goal is okay there, and I'm okay with that, because one of the things is the benefit, you don't get to back them up. If you don't make it, they're just taking a knee, and it's fine.
And I was shocked he kicked that, by the way, because everyone's going to tell you this is what they've done all year.
Yeah.
Well, then what about right before the end of the first half?
Yeah, exactly. And I think and I think a lot of times from their perspective, you can lose a little bit of the credibility in the locker room when you've been one way the whole time and you change. And so from my perspective on Campbell, I'm okay with what he did because he was who he was, and it was the identity that they struck. And, the Detroit Lions haven't won a playoff game in 32 years prior to this year, and so they needed every bit of that identity to build up what they've built up. And if they lose an NFC Championship game as 7-point underdogs to the San Francisco 49ers on the road, so be it. I think that's kind of how I see it. It's like, go out with go out the way that you've always gone out in that particular game is kind of how I see it.
In October, Thomas Dimitroff, I was convinced you were going to be the Patriots general manager and Bill Belichick was going to be the head coach. That's what I just threw out there. That's what I thought was going to happen. Did that ever have a shot of you winding back up in New England?
I've not talked to anyone in New England about it. It's interesting you say. I was very versed, at least in watching what was going down in Atlanta, just because I was fascinated between both men, right? Mm-hmm. Arthur Blank and Bill Belichick and how they work together. But interesting you say that. I'm interested to see who they do, in fact, hire. It's
a bizarre process right now.
It is. Because they have said that they're going to do that after the draft, correct?
And when you have the 3rd overall pick, it's like, hello, what's the point of the GM?
Yeah. Well, maybe they just think Jaden Daniels and let's just go home.
Maybe that could be a case, but it was. Would you, if they picked up the phone, like, do you want to get back into the general managing landscape?
I've from day one, even with my boss in Sumer Sports, I've always said, look, I'm really interested in seeing what continues to evolve out there. And the reason I stayed in this is because I believe wholeheartedly in what we're doing at Sumer. Mm-hmm. So that's where my focus is. But of course, if someone knocks, I'm always interested in talking, because I think we're evolving so much in this league, and to be able to come back, just to bring this back around, having all that 30 years of basically experience in the NFL and having 2 years getting my master's in data with guys like this.
He's Harvard.
I wish, yeah. That's a pretty cool thing to be able to come to the table and say, look, there's a lot out there that you NFL teams can tap into if you're open-minded enough.
This is the way that I perceive the whole Belichick. I think Blank wanted him. I think that's clear as clear could be. And then the relationship with Rich McKay, and I get it. There's other guys in that building that said, I don't know if I'm going to have a job if Bill comes in, because Bill is – I love Bill Belichick. I'm a Patriot fan. Bill Belichick is my favorite head coach of all time, but he's stubborn. And when you're used to doing something your way or the highway for so many years, you don't change a Bill Belichick. And I think ultimately the people in that building got to his ear and changed Arthur Blank's decision.
Well, look, I mean, you're right on. I mean, he is, I think historically there's never been a chance, or will be a chance in the future, for this level of GM and the owners to acquire a head coach who's not just retiring at the end of this, right? Mm-hmm. He's available. That's unbelievable. I mean, I've said this to different owners this year. There's no coach out there in the next 2 to 3 years that can win you a Super Bowl or bring you closer than Bill Belichick. And like you, I think he is top-notch. I think he's a situational mastermind, which is a problem with a number of coaches in this league, and even some very good coaches. That said, like you said, it's an acquired taste or whatever, you know that you're going to have to step back. But if you are, in fact, structuring for great, that's the man you need in your building. You just have to understand it's going to be different.
But it's a really tough needle to thread, right? Because when you guys won in New England, it was desolate there, right? When you took over, it was 5-11 right away. It wasn't, and with Belichick, his goals in many ways are to still win, to get that Don Shula record, and for him to go to an organization like that. That type of team is still going to have holdovers that want to keep their job, because a place that's able to win now with just a little bit of a tweak is going to have people who are going to balk at a Belichick. A place that's completely barren and would welcome somebody to come in and just do it his way might not be attractive to Bill. And maybe will after 1 year of sitting it out and seeing what a year out of will do to him mentally. But I think that's where the rub happened this year, which was the Falcons are a team that could win with just a small adjustment. But the reason that's the case is because there are good things about the Falcons, and those good things don't want to be up. They don't want the apple cart upset, and that's probably why they stuck with a status quo-y kind of hire.
They would have made the playoffs this year if Arthur Smith didn't try to make Desmond Ridder the focus of that offense. That's a game managing is fine.
Yeah.
All right? We all get obsessed with it, but I thought Smith was in his own head that he had to make Desmond Ridder be more than a game manager, and it drove me bonkers.
I thought he was I think Arthur Smith is a really good thinker in the NFL. I think what he did with Tennessee was phenomenal. The really cool part is Zach Robinson, now the OC there. One of the things I love about Zach was out of anybody I worked with at PFF, he asked the best questions. And I think that Arthur Smith, unfortunately, this year all he had was answers, and most of the time they were most of the time they were wrong. And so it's going to be a difference. I'm bullish on the Falcons even without Belichick, just because I think they have some great coaches there. But I think that contrast of open-mindedness that we just did not see in the 2023 Falcons, I think you'll see a huge contrast in the 2024 Falcons.
And put it this way, as we're wrapping up with Thomas Dimitroff and Eric Eager, Raheem Morris deserved another opportunity. I don't think Raheem Morris is a bad hire. But when everyone was told it was going to be Belichick, it's underwhelming. Similarly to the Commanders, Dan Quinn is not a bad hire. Dan Quinn's been a good head coach in this league, but everyone got their mind thinking it was Ben Johnson for whatever the reasons were. Ben Johnson didn't want that job, and that's why people are like, oh, Dan Quinn's a bad hire, when it's not a bad hire, it's just underwhelming. So you knowing Dan pretty well, what do you tell Commanders fans that are doubting this hire?
And I've been on a number of stations talking about it because, Dan is very mindful, has a number of there are so many positives about Dan. High energy. He is a very smart football coach. He's a guy that's really dialed in, and he has an awareness of what's going on in the building with the players, with the management. He loves personnel, so he's not a guy that's going to step all over Adam Peters' toes.
Yeah.
But he's going to be a guy that's going to be involved in it in a good way. That was my experience. It's not. We've been around head coaches before who can be a complete PIA, right? They are a pain at every level. That's not Dan. Dan goes in there. I honestly, mark my words on this, I honestly believe, yes, I get a young head coach, and he was the guy everyone was talking about, right? Ben Johnson. I'm happy for them that they got Dan instead, only because Dan is going to bring to that organization that's kind of been and I don't mean to throw darts at the last regime, but Dan is going to bring an energy there that they haven't had there in a while, right?
And it's new life without Snyder.
Yeah, exactly. Where I don't know if Ben Johnson was going to do that. I haven't seen that yet. I don't know Ben's ability to take the entire room. Dan Quinn can take the offense and the defense, meaning he owns them as a leader. He's a leader of men. I think that organization needs that. I think by bringing in the coordinator that they're bringing in, and I think he has obviously worked with him at USC, a quarterback that could potentially go there. I just think this is going to be a much better situation in Washington than some people are giving it credit for.
All right, I know you guys got to run, so tell me more about Sumer Sports, and then also give me an analytic kind of perspective on this game as well.
Yeah, Sumer Sports.
Because you know what? My brain's telling me Kansas City. My gut's telling me the 49ers. I'm trusting the gut because no one's picking Kansas City, it feels like.
Wow, I feel like that's the exact opposite. I feel like everybody's brain says the Niners are, front to back, the greatest. Next year, by the way, 5 players who are going to make $20 million or more against the cap. They're stacked, right? I feel like everybody's brain tells them the Niners are a better team from front to back on the roster. Great head coach, obviously, great play caller, and everybody's heart says but it's 15 on the other side, right? Sumersports.com, we have a big game breakdown. We had a similar playoff breakdown, 41 pages of statistics, quotes from a former NFL GM, Thomas Dimitroff, quotes from some schmuck who got a PhD in math as well. We also have some prop bets and stuff.
Talking about my brother-in-law or you?
some prop bets. I was explaining to Thomas, some of the interesting propositions that you can bet on the game. All that's in there. I think this game is going to be a little bit lower scoring than people believe. I think that the NFL in 2023, even good offenses, limit the game. I think
that favors Kansas City, right?
I think it's favoring Kansas City, and you saw the Ravens game as well. The fewer possessions, the Chiefs give up a lot of first downs, but they don't give up a lot of touchdowns, and I think that that's a structural way that Brett Veach has built that defense.
The most intelligent people it pains me to say this because it just drives into the analytic crowd, but I think these most intelligent people we're going to talk to all throughout the week. He is Eric Eager and Thomas Dimitroff from Sumer Sports. Gentlemen, thanks so much for doing this as always.
Thanks for having us.
All righty, Zach Gelb Show, CBS Sports Radio, coming on back from Radio Row.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Now back to the Zach Gelb Show.
All right, you can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free. I feel like I have to do this in a very soothing voice. Sponsored by AutoZone all season long. You can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Stu, blast it. So last night at the Grammys, this is clearly the takeaway from the Grammys. This is all that I've seen people discuss. And I'm not usually a big award show guy because they've become kind of tedious throughout the years. But last night, when you have Tracy Chapman and then also Luke Combs together, both singing Fast Car, was a pretty surreal scene at the Grammys. It was surreal for everyone. Well, I guess kind of surreal for my old producer, Hot Take Hickey, as well, because he was the only dope that didn't know Tracy Chapman's song was Fast Car. He always thought it was Luke Combs. So you at least knew that, Samter, that this was a Tracy Chapman song, right?
I mean, come on. Don't compare me ever to Hickey, of course. Of course.
You know what I realized in this new lineup? We have started like wars with producers here.
Oh, it's
we
gonna
really
happen.
have.
Oh, yeah.
Shep, Hickey, you. Yeah, I just feel like I'm stirring the pasta pot, and everyone's jumping in that pasta pot for the sauce.
Just wait till we throw EJ and D-Cell and D-Ben into the mix, too.
Yeah, D-Ben I think we'll stay away from. I like D-Ben. He used to work with me. EJ hasn't done anything wrong, but one little kerfuffle here at Radio Row, and then who knows? We could throw some fisticuffs. That could definitely happen later in the week. So it got me thinking, when you put those two guys together and you have them play that song and it makes this big reaction, we go NFL, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball. You could take two guys from any era and have them play at the same time. It's so many of those like, what if this person went up against this person in sports? That's what I was thinking about, how we could make a nice moment at the Grammys into some like cheesy kind of radio topic, if I'm being just completely honest with everybody. But for the NFL, I think this one's obvious. Some people may go corner, wide receiver, and take it literally like an actual matchup, defensive end up against a big hog molly on the offensive line. But Tom Brady against Joe Montana. That, to me, if you could put them in the same era and then see who the actual greatest of all time would be really fun, because you have, for so many years, right, the older guard that would say, Montana, 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 he's never lost a Super Bowl. And then it was Brady, who played for 20-something years, ended up winning 7 Super Bowls and going to 10. You could put those two elite winners at the same time, Samter. Man, especially one year on the AFC, another on the NFC, right, in their glory days, 49ers and Patriots. You can forget about the Chiefs. You forget about the Bucs. Obviously, we could just wipe that from the record, even though Brady ended up winning a Super Bowl with Tampa Bay. Imagine if you had those Super Bowls. Like, we lived and we were here for Brady and Peyton Manning in the same division for a little bit and then the same conference. If you could get Brady and Montana in the big game and that was like a 5-year stretch where we got 3 out of 5 years or 4 out of 5 years with those guys, that would be unbelievable. It really would be.
No, it definitely would be, and I think the AFC-NFC part would be really cool because you'd have that quarterback conversation. But when I'm thinking about the way you discussed that whole thing, the different eras, I was thinking offense and defense. Like, who would I like to see defend who?
Yeah.
And because as a Jets fan back then, I despised Tom Brady, I would love to see him go against Lawrence Taylor over and over and over and over and over again.
Well, that's actually a good part of that conversation, because you will have the older school guys that will trash these quarterbacks now because they go, oh, you basically were protected, you never got hit, blah, blah, blah. And people forget how long Brady's career was. Brady played in almost like 3 different eras in the NFL, and some of the rules were changed because of him. But he also played when you could actually hit a quarterback. That wasn't to the level that it occurred in the 80s and the 90s when Lawrence Taylor lined up and other quarterbacks were basically peeing down their leg, for a better way, to put it. Now, the NBA, isn't this obvious? I could already hear the hot takes spewing. LeBron and Michael. That's just that. That's the easiest one. I don't think we need a discussion on that.
It's the easy, obvious one, and obviously that's the one that everybody wants to see. But I have a couple other ones that could be interesting.
Yeah, I'll let you get to them in a second.
Yeah.
I would rather see Brady Montana than LeBron against Michael.
No. I don't think that there is a matchup I'd rather see than LeBron-Michael in any sport. Because, like you said, Montana and Brady aren't playing against each other.
Fair.
LeBron would be guarding Jordan. Jordan would be guarding LeBron. It would be one-on-one. Who is the best player on the planet? With the Brady-Montana thing, it would be so much about the success of their team surrounding them and playing each other in games, but that would be
So
it.
You're arguing this from a logic standpoint. You're right, logically. I'm arguing it, I just don't want to hear the takes about it. I am so tired and just done with this LeBron-Michael conversation, but this would be giving us the true answer.
That's exactly it. Like, that tiresome conversation. Like, I feel like the Brady-Montana conversation is over now. Mm-hmm. Brady is just so far above everybody else that there is no number 2. Right, so you can't really have that conversation anymore. You can still have the LeBron-MJ conversation.
All right. You want to give me the others?
So the other ones I thought would be interesting would be Steph and Bird. You know, can Larry Bird in today's NBA...
Christopher Mad Dog Russo. You know, we'll see how good of a three-point shooter Larry Bird was up against Steph Curry, okay?
And how good would Steph be in the 80s when guys were, like, elbowing each other and punching each other in the face? Yeah. I'd also love to see either Shaq Wilt or Shaq Kareem. The 3 best centers I've ever seen. Shaq was so
Bill
dominant.
Russell?
No, I'm sorry. Bill Russell, too,
no, I'm just saying, throwing another big name in there.
But Bill Russell was, 6'8", 6'9"? Shaq would have destroyed him. He would have, just from pure size.
What are you talking about, Michael? Come on.
He was 7'2", 320 pounds with 5% body fat. He would have eaten Bill Russell alive. Not for anything that Bill Russell would do wrong. It's just he would not physically be able to compete.
All right, hockey. This one, Alexander Ovechkin is not the best hockey player of the last 20 years. That is Sidney Crosby. But for a while, no one ever thought Wayne Gretzky's goal record was going to be in jeopardy. And it's crazy when you look at Wayne Gretzky, who has the most points in NHL history. You could take away all of his goals, and he would still have the most points in NHL history. So if we could get the great one in Wayne Gretzky up against Alexander Ovechkin, because that's going to be the guy that, assuming health plays out, eventually passes Gretzky just in terms of goals, that would be fun. And here's the most interesting one, baseball. I said this to you before the show, and you were like, I was never expecting this in a million years. We all know the hit king is Pete Rose. Randy Johnson has the 2nd most strikeouts in the history of baseball. Pete Rose, never struck out. And now all people do is strike out in Major League Baseball. I would love to see just a strategic game between Randy Johnson and Pete Rose. That would be my baseball one.
That would be interesting. I don't think Pete Rose would strike out very often, but he would definitely not be able to get a lot of hits off of him. Nobody got hits off the unit. But that would be interesting. It's similar to Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn never struck out. Pete Rose, it would be interesting. I don't think he would be successful, but I don't think he would strike out as often as
There
others.
are some legendary pitchers that you would be like, wow, I can't believe Pete Rose had success, like a 400 average against some of those guys. When you look back at the number, it was just so far out of reach. Alrighty, this is Zach Gelb Show on Radio Row. We will take a timeout. We'll come on back. Brian Billick is joining us, Super Bowl champion head coach. Brian Billick going to stop by live in Las Vegas. Update time first. Let's toss it back to our New York City studios. Here is the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Sports flag.
Well, Super Bowl week is underway. The big Monday night event that has been a recent addition in the last couple of years, will get underway shortly with the Chiefs first up at the podium. Dan Quinn filling out his staff quickly with Joe Witt Jr. taking on the duties of defensive coordinator. The team announced that Eric Bieniemy will not return to the coaching staff. Le'Veon Bell is interested in a comeback and interested in a return to Pittsburgh. He hasn't played the last 2 years. The last days in the Steelers were 2017. May still have something left at age 31. Again, he has not been in the NFL since 2021. The Royals have made Bobby Witt Jr. the face of their organization, giving the young shortstop an 11-year extension worth $290 million. He's coming off a season in which he had 30 home runs in just his second season in the big leagues. The Clippers got off to a slow start, but are rolling now, leading the Pacific Division after wins in 25 of the last 30. After a win in Miami last night, they will take on the Hawks in Atlanta this evening, while the Cavaliers go for their 6th in a row against the Kings. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, this is Bart Winkler. I've got a new show weeknights. Join me for the Bart Winkler Show starting at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, only on CBS Sports Radio.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Now back to the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, back inside the Convention Center, Mandalay Bay. Zach Gelb Show, Radio Row, Super Bowl 58. We inch closer and closer to the game on Sunday between the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Now joining us, a man that has won a Super Bowl as a head coach, Brian Billick, on behalf of Signal Relief. Coach, always great to see you. Thanks so much. How are you?
That's great. Great to be here. Going to be a fun week.
So the conversation, and I said this last week, I've reiterated it this week. I'm so tired of the conversation surrounding Brock Purdy and how good he could be. When you won a Super Bowl, right, still to this day, people go, oh, Trent Dilfer, like the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. Since you were in kind of that a little bit, just what's your perspective on Brock Purdy?
Well, and unfortunately, he's going to hear that because of the pedigree. I think he's a brilliant quarterback. I think he's got all the elements that you need. He seems to be very cool under fire. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan's utilizing him very, very well. But he's going to carry around Mr. Irrelevant, fell in the draft for all those reasons, surrounded by great talent. He's a system quarterback until he wins it. In fact, even after he wins it, he's probably going to have to live with that. But that's just part of the game. I mean, this kid, I think, is the real deal. He's performed in the utmost platforms. Now, he struggled a little bit in that first playoff game. First half, and the first half against Detroit really wasn't his fault. They didn't have the ball, right? The way Detroit ran up and down the field running the ball. But he delivered at the end of the Texans game. He delivered at the end of the first game, and obviously played well enough in the second game that this guy's the real deal. Unfortunately, I think he's going to have to carry that noise around him for a long time.
And I've stopped trying to – I got to talk about it, but I've stopped trying to figure out when quarterbacks come out of the draft, how many times do we hear the first guy, the second, the third guy in the draft are going to be great, and they end up being terrible, and then you get these later-round picks that end up being stars. If Brock got picked second overall, third overall, the conversation would have been totally different than what it is
Correct.
right now.
And the amazing thing, if you look – if he had magically been taken in the top 10, the career he's had so far, you would say, okay, he's a hit. He's not a bust. But you're absolutely right. I wrote a book about it called The Q Factor, about even in today's analytic-driven, all the resources we have, you take a first-round quarterback, it's a 50-50 crapshoot. You're all talking about the guys coming out now, Caleb Williams and the May kid, and I'm always out, okay, are these guys the real deal? Yeah, they are. They're all capable of being C.J. Stroud. They're also capable of being Bryce Young. They're also capable, I mean, all the guys that have missed in the first round were legitimately picked in the first round. Now, maybe they should have fallen a couple spots. So there really is no rhyme or reason to it. It's a 50-50 crapshoot, and I defy anybody to lay claim to the fact that, well, I know what makes a first. No, you don't.
It's weird now because I think when you get tagged the guy in college and then you still have to go play 2 or 3 more years of college, it's very tough to then have success in the NFL. Like Andrew Luck had a lot of success in the NFL. Injuries derailed him. He was supposed to be transcendent. Trevor Lawrence, it was one bad year, one really good year, one disappointing season. A guy for Caleb Williams who was tagged the guy 2 years ago and this year had an underwhelming season. That's the one that I'm most fascinated by to see what his NFL career looks like.
Right, and I think they'll still stay with it because he has all the credentials. He really does. But that's now guaranteed that once he gets into the NFL that it's going to be any different. And that's not a knock on Caleb Williams. I wouldn't begin to try to tell you which of the guys coming out that are going to be first-round picks are going to be busts. I will tell you this, and I got history on my side, half of them will bust.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. Now, saying which one, that's a whole
the
nother
tricky part.
Yeah, that's the tricky part.
And the other part now is everyone's obsessed with Mahomes, right? He's the best quarterback. We all know that. He's the thing that's going right now. You know football is a copycat league. I feel now the general managers go, how can we get a 75% of Mahomes or a 60% of Mahomes? And there's just nobody else right now that is like
I love the ones say, well, can we go get a Patrick Mahomes? Well, there's not a lot of cats walking around like that, man. I mean, no. I mean, and even remember now, he fell with the 12th pick, which underlines just what we're talking about.
Yeah.
In what world does Mitchell Trubisky get taken in front of Patrick Mahomes? But at the time, that was the valuation, and there's not a whole lot of people that would disagree with it.
I did not like the Trubisky pick when it happened, but I didn't talk about Mahomes. I was talking about Deshaun Watson.
Right, which is an illegitimate as well. I think I love Deshaun Watson's game. Hopefully, now that I think most of that crap in Cleveland is behind him in terms of when he first came in the injury on a very good team, because I think Deshaun Watson's the real deal.
Talking to Brian Billick right now. Last week or 2 weeks ago when the Ravens just no-showed, how stunning was that to you?
You know, I don't know that it was a no-show as much as it was the fact that again, you're talking about Patrick Mahomes. They have the pedigree. And, you know, and being in Baltimore and we didn't run the ball enough and you didn't have a chance. The first quarter and a half disappeared. When you went 3 and out, they go the length of the field in a 6-minute drive and score. Yeah, you scored. Then they go 10-minute drive and score, and then you fumble. The first half disappears from you. And they actually played better, you know, obviously in the second half. But with Patrick Mahomes and that group, you can't dismiss that. So, no, they didn't play up to what everybody thought was going to be a win for them at home. And I don't know that Lamar Jackson necessarily, I just don't think the game unfolded in a way, there was no way it was going to happen.
The approach offensively, I didn't get. It seemed as if the Ravens, who talked about this before the year, they want to throw the football more. That's fine, right? It was 2023 at the time. I'm good with throwing the football more. It seemed like they were trying to win, though, that game only through the air, and they abandoned what they do best.
Well, I think the flow of the game dictated that to a degree. I don't think they certainly went in with the idea that we're only going to run the ball 16 times. I do think that, and again, because that's Patrick Mahomes that you're looking at, who went up and down the field throwing the ball.
It's a mental game.
I thought if Kansas City won, I told people on the radio beforehand, if Kansas City wins, we're going to be talking Monday about Pacheco and how Kansas City ran the ball uncharacteristically on Baltimore. And, of course, Patrick Mahomes. They didn't run the ball well. Now, they stuck with it. They ran under 100 yards, but they ran it 32 times. So they did stay with it. But Mahomes, and so I think to a degree, I think Lamar Jackson may have, get behind the 8 ball. I don't get as many as many series. He's up and down the field throwing the ball. I want to be that. I want to show that I am indeed that quarterback now. Now, he'll never admit to that, but there's got to be that little bit of chip on his shoulder, and that's not him. He's never going to be that guy. It's his combination of what he's doing that's spectacular. He's never going to be a 550 throw, 70%, 9.5 yards per completion type of guy. It's just that's not him. And that's not to say that he can win a Super Bowl with what he does well, but he's never going to be that guy.
Wrap it up with Brian Billick. We'll talk about signal relief in just a second. I was always shocked you never got another opportunity to be a head coach. Belichick now, right, got passed up this cycle. Pete Carroll, I guess nothing got cooking. Is there a moment where you realize, because when it immediately happens, you think you're going to coach again?
Sure.
When was that moment for you where you said, wow, I'm never going to be a head coach
Well, me,
again?
it was a little bit different. It was earlier in my, I was in my mid-50s.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing the broadcast thing, so I kind of stayed close to the game, and which gave you a little bit of a Jones,
and less stress too in the broadcasting world.
No one was trying to run me out of town. So there comes a point where you also recognize that for me, and I remember Jimmy Johnson advising me, is Brian, don't go back just to go back. I mean, I had a pretty good first marriage with Ozzie Newsome and the Ravens and the ownership.
Great organization.
It was phenomenal. And I didn't want to go into a situation that I knew wasn't right. Didn't have to be the way I wanted it necessarily, but that it had to be a shared vision at the top. And the few opportunities that I talked with some people did not see that. Now for Pete and for Bill, again, 72. I just turned 70. Frankly, I can't imagine going back into the grind. I've got too many other interests, for one. Plus, just and convince myself that I could do that. Both these guys are lifers. Do they want to go back and do that? Possibly, maybe in a different role. But that's not what the league's looking for right now. They're looking for the young gun and that whole thing. And so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens with them.
And also now, and I don't think this is the case for Pete. It's more so for Bill. The My Way or Highway approach right now isn't what they're looking for. It's kind of a Dan Campbell, an Antonio Pierce, guys that are players, coaches, but they're not doormats.
And to Bill's credit, there's no he's not going to trick you into thinking. I can just, I can imagine Bill sitting in the room going, no, we'll make sure we're very clear here.
Yeah.
GM, you just stay out of my way. Owner.
That's why I didn't get the Falcons job.
Yeah, well, exactly. Why don't you go to Europe for a couple of years, because we're going to do this my way. And fair enough, he earned the right to say it that way. You can certainly understand why there's very few clubs that really want to sign on to that.
Tell me about Signal Relief and what you're doing.
Amazing product. It really is. It's one I became aware of about 6 months ago. And it's a patch. Now, it's not a TENS unit. There's no goo or it's not electrically. It's based on electrical waves developed by the military. And we say you put it between the pain and the brain. It's an amazing product. You put it to deal with that subtle prohibitive pain that keeps you from doing the other things. That's really where the rehab comes from. Being able to get back out, work your muscles, work your joints. Motion is medicine. And what Signal Relief does is, for me, I come off the golf course, it goes on my lower back.
Yeah.
I come out of the pool, it's my shoulder, my upper back. It deals with that slightly prohibitive pain that then allows me to do the other things, to work the joints, work the muscles. You can use it up to a year, so it's very cost effective. You put it where you need it, which I love, and it's 100% money back guaranteed. People need to check this out that want to stay active, deal with that nagging prohibitive pain, get back to that motion is lotion mentality. Go to signalrelief.com, put in promo code COACH, and you get 20% off your first choice.
Once again, signalrelief.com. Before we let you run, Coach Brian Billick, I always love talking to coaches because I could sit there, break down the game, and then you guys could see something a different way. What's the one big thought you have for this game from a coaching
We've already
standpoint?
talked. At the end of the day, we could talk a million things about San Francisco has the running game to get, but Patrick Mahomes. Well, but then they can set the play action up off that, and they're going to get Kittle down the field, and Tebow's Samuel. But you got Patrick Mahomes. Well, the defense can put a rush on. They can say, Patrick Mahomes. Actually, no matter what the reasons. And San Francisco's certainly capable of winning this game.
I don't think mentally, don't get me wrong, it is a factor. We all know that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're going to be mentally spooked like some other teams are.
No, because they've been there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a big part of it as well. And we'll see. And for God's sake, can you not let Kelsey go off?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to channel your Belichickian. What's the one thing? I'd tell my defensive coordinator, look, I don't care if we lose 100-0.
Just don't let Kelsey go off.
I don't care if Pacheco has 700 yards rushing. I don't want Kelsey and Taylor Swift to have a catch in this game. You can do that.
How about that? He's Coach Brian Billick. Once again, signalrelief.com. Make sure you check it out. Coach, thank you as always.
Right,
You're the best.
you.
There he is, Coach Brian Billick, joining us on Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Super Bowl 58. We continue to keep things rocking and rolling. One more hour to play on day number 1 inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. When we come on back, Samter's got some questions for me. I got some answers. Yeah, we still do this on Mondays, even though we're in Las Vegas. We'll do a little onside, offside. Salma Wolcott still will stop by 25 minutes from now. Back in 5 from Mandalay Bay.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Sports live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All righty, hour number 3 of our radio program. That's right, it is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on CBS Sports Radio. We are on the road this week, Mandalay Bay, Super Bowl 58. San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs. Zach Gelb here with you. One more hour to play. Solomon Wilcott's going to join us coming up 20 minutes from now. But look who's making an appearance to my left. He's been hiding off in the corner. He's actually dressed nice for work today. Doesn't look like some bum. Clean shaven. You got the sports coat on. The producer extraordinaire of the Zach Gelb Show extravaganza on CBS Sports Radio, Moist Mike, which this gives you a reason. YouTube.com/CBS Sports Radio to tune in. You look dapper, my friend. I will give it up to you.
I clean up nice. You know,
Humbly said, too.
Yeah, believe it or not, I clean up okay.
Yeah, so we'll get into some trouble this week, I'm sure. I just want to make sure that you don't wind up on some, like, hotel balcony with a tattoo on your face, okay?
I'm definitely going to mortgage my entire house and everything that goes along with it trying to win poker, so this could be dangerous. Okay. I might need you to help me out here. Just so, you know, like, pull me back. When
I thought you meant financially. So when you ran out of funds, keep on giving you some Benjamins. I would not be interested.
No, when you see me chasing my losses, just pull me back and say, "Hey, Samter, come on."
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I didn't want to really reveal this to you. But I reached out to your wife before this trip.
I don't know where this is going.
I slid into her DMs. And she gave me an emergency number to call. She said Mike could get a little out of control at the casino. So I have your wife on FaceTime. She gave me a nice FaceTime call last night, right before I went to bed, and she gave me her number, her direct emergency line, and she said if Mike does anything questionable, just FaceTime him. So if you see me going for my phone, just I may be FaceTiming your wife.
Well, I mean, I don't want to finish the saying, but you know, bros before. I mean, I thought you were supposed to be on my side. I mean,
I never said that I was gonna, actually do it.
Oh, okay, good. As
I
long
may
as
look.
Believes that you're going to do it.
I may look the other way, and then if it gets to a point where I can't reel back in Moist Mike, then I may have to bring in the top dog. That's a weird way to refer to your wife, the top dog. But anyway, before we get kicked out of here for going after, well, I'm not even going after Samter's wife. It's more so going after Moist Mike. Stu, you can hit a little onside, offside. Save us, please.
Zach's taking on the most polarizing issues in sports. Which side of the line of scrimmage will he end up on?
Offside. Defense number 69.
It's Onsides, Offsides with Zach Gelb on CBS Sports Radio.
All righty, Samter, what do we got cooking today?
All right, well, in a series of Snapchat videos, former Steelers and...
Snapface or Snapchat?
Snapchat? Is it the same thing?
That was a Belichickism. He would always go, those guys are on their snap face. He would never hit, come on, or Insta face. You know what it is, Coach.
Well, you were confusing me because I'm thinking to myself, listen, I'm older. I don't know. Is there a new app called Snapface?
You're on
that
Snapchat,
I don't know about?
Though, right?
I was. I may have used it twice in my life. I don't know much about it. But I do know that former Steelers and my Jets running back, Le'Veon Bell, but this was when I was a Jets fan, no longer. Yeah. He expressed his desire to make an NFL comeback, implying he preferred to return to Pittsburgh. So onside, offside, you believe Le'Veon Bell will be able to return to the NFL?
This is an offside. Maybe he would get a training camp invite. I don't think he is going to make a roster. This is the same Le'Veon Bell that 2 years ago, he was doing some fight, and he joined me, and he lost a lot of weight, and he looks in really good shape. Because when he was on the Ravens, I want to say 2 years ago, he was wearing like 19 or 17. I'm like, who the heck is that? They're like, oh, that's Le'Veon Bell. I go, man, he's shredded. He lost some weight. But at that time, when he walked away from the Ravens or however it did go down, it's slipping my memory, he said to me, I would only want to come back if I could bypass training camp, bypass most of the regular season, and just go on a playoff run. So now, I think Le'Veon Bell's just one of those guys that it's tough in the public spotlight to get out of the spotlight. So now he'll just float this card out of him coming back and making a triumphant NFL return. I don't think that's happening. I would go offside.
Offside.
Now, as the 49ers prep for the big game on Sunday, reports out of San Fran's camp say the team is actually unhappy with the conditions of their practice field at UNLV.
Where's the Sodfather guy? Remember him from last year at the Super Bowl?
I don't know. Who knew?
Is he still alive?
Who knew there was a field expert, but apparently there is.
The Sodfather.
And usually the team and the league puts the sod down a few weeks in advance. Well, apparently the league only laid down the sod for the field last week. And the field rating, which is usually in the 70s or 80s when it comes to hardness level, is actually in the 50s. So it's actually much softer and therefore more dangerous and
so the field's a little moist, some would say.
I hate you so much. Onside, offside. This practice field issue will actually impact the 49ers.
So this is for the practice field, not the game.
Correct. This is the practice field, but not the Chiefs practice field, the 49ers practice field.
Gotcha, because I'm a little bit of a grass expert, some may say. And the grass that I was told at Allegiant Stadium.
All right.
Who are we, Travis Kelce? All right. I was told the grass for the stadium's good. So the practice field grass is, in good condition, is what you're saying?
It's too soft. It's way softer than they normally would have it, and it was laid down way later than it should have been laid down.
So you're asking me, is this a concern?
Will this impact the 49ers?
I'm going to say offside and watch. You will get some practice report tomorrow where someone goes down with the leg injury.
Knock on wood. The one thing we don't want, whatever happens in this game, the one thing we don't want is for a bad injury to happen. I want everyone to be full strength.
Now, I don't want to be this guy, but I'm going to be this guy. The NFL makes $13-14 billion a year. We can't figure out the grass. In the age of 2024, everyone else is figuring out the grass.
Yeah,
the NFL can't figure out the grass?
Makes no sense.
All right, offsides.
Offside.
I was waiting for that. Now, on the other side, Patrick Mahomes.
More
he's
grass?
Focusing, No, not
Puff
grass.
the grass? Pass the grass?
A little dirt, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Now, Patrick Mahomes, he's focusing on winning his third Super Bowl title in 5 years, but he might have a little of a distraction as his father, former baseball pitcher Pat Mahomes Sr.
This is good. Hold on, I know you're going to set this up. I landed on the plane here. They gave you the option to buy the Wi-Fi, which you could just expense anyway, so I probably should have bought it. But I was watching movies, and I kind of wanted to be disconnected from my phone. I guess my phone connected to the plane Wi-Fi, which allowed me to just get text messages outside, because you don't have an iPhone, right?
I don't, but you should still be able to text me.
No, I was only able to text iPhones. That's what it was, maybe because of the iChat.
That's why Android's better.
And all that. Well, no, it's actually good because I didn't have to text you on the plane and respond to you, which was fine.
That's a good point.
But I landed, and this news that Santer's given me was the first thing that I saw that was not through text messaging and whatnot.
So, as we know, Pat Mahomes Sr., former baseball player, he was arrested for a DWI. It was his third arrest for driving while impaired. And he could be facing up to 10 years in prison.
What a moron.
Based on his history with this incident. Now, onside, offside, this situation will have a negative impact on Patrick Mahomes come Sunday.
So I've shared this before in my previous time slot. My mother, when she was in college, got hit head on by a drunk driver, went through the windshield, and she nearly died. Thankfully, everything turned out to be okay. But I have no sympathy, for people that drink and then get behind the wheel. Especially nowadays with Uber, with Lyft, a good old-fashioned taxi. And I don't want to make this about a money thing, but when you have money as well, it's not like you could say, and this is not a good enough excuse anyway, oh, I couldn't afford it. You could afford getting in an Uber or a Lyft, and now you become a big story for all the wrong reasons on Super Bowl week. You take away from your son, and I wasn't even aware of Pat Mahomes Sr.'s 2 previous DUIs, because remember, he's always smoking that cigar where he doesn't always sound coherent, let's be fair, and he's like, oh, I was smoking on that Burrow pack, or I was smoking on that Lamar Jackson pack, whatever it is. We've all seen the clips, and they were fun. But now we know all this stuff, and maybe I just missed the other 2, it wasn't reported a lot, but this is now a story. I don't think it is going to affect Mahomes on the field, because how many times do you hear people use football to get away from things, and that's an element to now get away from it? But I can guarantee you this, that he's going to be asked about it tonight, and it's unnecessary to Patrick Mahomes. And also, Pat Mahomes Sr., I have no sympathy for you because it's very simple, folks. And I don't mean to lecture people, but this just gets me so fired up because I've known so many people that have been impacted by this and are lucky to walk away from what happened. Nothing good happens when you drink and then drive. Like, you want to drink, you want to have fun, great. I had a few drinks last night. I didn't get behind the wheel, and neither should Patrick Mahomes Sr. And when this happens, no one just says, yeah, I was wrong, I was an idiot, I was a moron, I was a dope. There's always excuses, and people just don't take accountability for their actions. But I don't think this impacts Mahomes on the field Sunday, Pat Mahomes. So I wonder if he's going to come to the game now. Like, your son's in the Super Bowl. You have now turned into a negative storyline. I guess I would imagine he's still going to go to the game, but, man, it's Pat Mahomes is so likable.
Patrick Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes, yes. I have done a little, I'm not going to say 180, but a little bit of a 180 on his wife, Brittany Mahomes. But the brother is obnoxious, and the father really never gave me a reason before this that I knew of to dislike him. Now, the father's unlikable, too.
This is the second negative story with Pat Mahomes, because last week he told ESPN Radio that his son is the third best quarterback of all time. It's like 2 straight times. Like,
no,
listen,
but that was the right answer.
Sure, but at the end of the day, also, like, we shouldn't be talking about Pat Mahomes. We should be talking about Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And the fact that now twice in a week we're talking about his dad, I have a problem with that. None of the previous Super Bowls were we talking about the dad, but now we are, and it's negative, and he's going to get those questions tonight. He's going to get those questions throughout the week. And who knows how much it creeps into his head.
I don't know if this is a weekly story. I think this is a tonight story where they'll ask him a question or two, and I think most people understand he didn't do anything wrong. He's just answering for his family member. And I would like to think, and maybe I'll be dead wrong in this, that there will be some respect to Patrick Mahomes tonight because he didn't do anything wrong here.
Now, the Pro Bowl games were yesterday, and the NFC won it, though they didn't actually score more points in the flag football game. They garnered more points in some of the other games, especially with the big fellas pushing sleds and whatnot, that pushed their total above the AFCs. So onside, offside, you actually like this Pro Bowl format, especially that the actual game isn't the end-all, be-all part of the scoring
Have
system.
I gone offside for every question?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so far you are 4 for 4.
Stu tells me yes. I don't know if that was on the air, if that was just in my ear. Yeah, I'm going offside here again.
Damn.
How could I like something that I don't care about? It exists. It's there.
Do you like it better than the way it was before, where they actually, padded up and played a game?
I would be fraudulent if I gave you an answer here because this would assume that I actually watched some of this stuff.
Right.
The only things I saw was Instagram stuff from my buddy Deion Dawkins because he was a Pro Bowler for the 3rd straight year. Outside of that, I didn't watch a single second of that live because I don't like All-Star games. The only thing I like is NBA All-Star Weekend, not the actual game, but I'm a sucker for the 3-point contest
and the hockey skills
like
competition's awesome too.
Yeah, the hockey skill competition is
That's where Al
is fun
Ayafredi
too.
his slap shots.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Oh, maybe we could dress you up as a goalie and we could have some slap shots at you.
Yeah, no,
that
thank
would
you.
be fun.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I would die.
But I would go offside because I can't give you an opinion on this because I don't care for it.
Offside.
All right, we're 4 for 4. Let's go for number 5
Is
on
this the last
Friday.
one?
No, we have a couple more. We discussed Stu's Raiders being set to hire Cliff Kingsbury as their OC.
How about this?
However, sorry, Stu, Kingsbury made a 180, pulling his name from contention, reportedly over contract disputes.
I heard he didn't like Mark Davis's PowerPoint presentation on how to turn around the Raiders.
That certainly could be a part of it. And at the last minute,
Sorry,
he
Stu.
decided to sign instead with Dan Quinn in Washington as his OC. So onside, offside, Kingsbury made the right call going to Washington over Vegas.
Yes, because we're going to know who his quarterback is. So I'm going to go onside, or you're going to know who the quarterback is after the draft. I don't know what the Raiders are doing at the quarterback position. I was bummed for Stu that this happened, and they ended up pivoting to Luke Getsy. I don't know if you want to be stealing things from the Chicago Bears these days, if you're just asking me. But I think that this is the better decision because in all likelihood, you're either trading up for Caleb Williams or probably getting either Drake May or Jaden Daniels. At least you will know who your guy is when we may not even know who the Raiders' guy is at quarterback until a year from now, potentially.
All right. So as Bill Belichick. All right.
Whenever there's an awkward moment of silence this week when we're waiting to do things, I think we just throw the Travis Kelce. All right.
Well, it's actually the Matthew McConaughey. All right. Let's be honest.
Sorry, you're right. Kelce does. All right.
It's a little bit different.
You're right. The McConaughey is all right.
Yeah, I don't think
Texas
I have enough.
Is going to blow a big game. All right.
I don't think I have enough of that grass to be able to pull that off.
Horns down happened again. All right.
Now, as Bill Belichick sits out the 2024 season, the former Pats coach put out a full-page ad in the Boston Globe thanking fans for their years of support, saying, quote, "Nowhere in America are sports fans as passionate as in New England." That's a lie. Onside, offside. Taking out an ad.
Where else?
New York, Philly,
yeah, but
Chicago.
they're all like relatives of one another. You're in the playing field.
In the playing field, but he's not correct. New England fans are not the most passionate.
Oh, I don't know about that. I would say it's either in terms of where you have like a lot of sports, not just one city that has one team. I would say the most passionate fans I've ever interacted with were New England and Philadelphia.
I would put Philadelphia.
I'd probably put Philly one.
Yeah. And then Boston, New York are kind of right there together.
I think there's more passion in New England because there's just so many sports teams in New York. Like you have 2 baseball teams, you got 3 hockey teams, you got 2 basketball teams, if you want to say that.
It's a little bit more spread
2
out.
Football teams,
That's true. Now, onside, offside. Taking out an ad in a newspaper is the proper way to thank fans.
I have no problem with that. I actually thought it was the most emotion Belichick's probably ever displayed as the head coach of the Patriots. I'll go on sides.
So lame.
Really?
It's so lame. All these guys who spend years and years in the city, and they put out a newspaper ad that cost them like 10 cents or
nice.
Or whatever.
Talking to a mass audience.
You know, if you really want
I don't know if people read newspapers.
If you want to thank the fans, go to a restaurant or a bar, tell people you're going to be there, shake hands, buy people shots, do a round, hang out, talk to the fans.
Cigars.
Yeah, like do something for them. What does it do for the fans who spent years of their emotional support, their financial support, and all the other things that he's thanking them for? What does a newspaper ad do for them? What are they going to do? Cut it out and hang it on their wall and say, "Hey,
I
Belichick
used to do
was
that
talking."
As a kid. I loved
What
collecting
does it mean?
newspapers as a kid.
Go talk to the fans. Go hang out with the fans. Go actually thank the fans in person and do something nice for them
You're just an old
after all the
curmudgeon.
nice stuff they did for you.
You're just an old man.
I hate that stuff. It's
You're just
so
an angry
lame.
old man.
So lame. Now, Doc Rivers has been with the Bucs for a grand old
Talking about
4
lame.
games. 4 games. Finally got his first win this weekend on Saturday against the Mavs. However, based on the NBA's criteria for the All-Star game, even though the Celtics have the best record in the East, they cannot coach the All-Star game because he
back-to-back
coached
years, right?
last year. So therefore, because the Bucs have the second best record, Doc Rivers, after 4 games, is the coach of the Eastern Conference All-Star team.
Doc actually shouldn't do it.
It makes no sense. Onside, offside.
I don't know if this is a fake tweet, but I read that you get an All-Star game ring and he's going to give that in the bonus to Adrian Griffin.
You know,
Stab
honestly,
in the back. Oh, here's something.
Adrian Griffin should coach the game, but
I agree.
Onside, offside. I know your answer. You are okay with Doc Rivers coaching this game?
Oh, offside.
Of course.
Doc, like
so dumb.
You coach 4 games. I know coach more before the All-Star game. You don't deserve to be the coach. I don't usually care about the actual All-Star game, but Doc Rivers should have the awareness to say, guys, I'm not doing it this year. I had something. I can't do it. Just you do that.
Let one of the assistants coach.
No. Just no one on the Bucs should.
Well,
it's
then
either
who else
Adrian
is
Griffin
gonna
or whoever the third player. Put Tom Thibodeau in as the All-Star game coach. At least they'll get good effort in the All-Star game. That's what I would do.
Nobody gives good effort in the
He
All-Star
may
game.
ruin a few knees, but hey, that's what I would do. Anyway, that's Onside Offside. It's Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio. We're coming on back from the Mandalay Bay Convention Center inside Radio Row, Super Bowl 58, on location all week in Las Vegas. Solomon Wilcott's one of our favorites. He's going to join us when we return.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Now back to the Zach Gelb Show.
All righty, rocking and rolling from Radio Row, day number 1. In each and every year, we talk to Solomon Wilcox, one of my all-time favorites. Of course, played for the Bengals. You could obviously listen to him each and every morning on SiriusXM's NFL Radio. Here today on behalf of www.macy.com. Solomon, always great to see you. How you been?
Zach, doing great, man. It's good to be back with you. Of course, I always enjoy our time together, whether it's over the phone or in person like we get to do here at Super Bowl 58.
So I know that you work for NFL Radio, so this may not be best for you, but then you're also a Bengal, true to your core. Are you tired of the Chiefs at this point?
No, because I'm a big Andy Reid fan. I've gotten to know Pat Mahomes Sr., Pat's father. Look, his dad is a cool guy, great father who taught his son very well, not just the athletic side of the game, but psychologically, the mentality you got to have. And then he would do these mock interviews with him to help him to understand accountability and how you take on. And it was it had to come to fruition this year, right? With all these drops that you saw and the way Pat dealt with it. He seems to be this kid that's older than his age would suggest at 28. He seems to come with a lot more wisdom, a lot more understanding of how to go about doing his job. And he's winning at a clip that we've never seen before, at least at this age. So that's something that you got to pay attention to. And so as much as I'm a fan of, obviously, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals, you have to look at what's happening with the Chiefs. And you look in awe, and you have to appreciate what you see.
So after the AFC Championship game, I was in the media room, and Chiefs owner Clark Hunt was to my right. Patrick Mahomes was sitting there waiting to obviously go up to the podium. He's right there. Brett Veach, the GM, is talking. Effusive with this praise, obviously. The next Mahomes negotiation.
Yes.
There is no card the Chiefs could play after how many positive things they were saying about Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is like a robot, though.
Yeah.
He is looking at his phone. Someone's saying all these nice things about you. He could clearly hear what was going on, but he's laser focused. And I don't think he wants to listen to any of these words of extolment, because if you let your guard down for a little bit, who knows what happens in this league.
Yeah, it's hard to really tell how does he keep it all together. Like, we knew that with Tom Brady, that he was a sixth-round pick. Everybody passed on him. He had a list of all the quarterbacks that went ahead of him, and he was bound and determined to make everyone live in regret. It's kind of like how Michael Jordan just used any slight that he needed to sort of motivate him to have this killer mentality. Patrick seems to just have it.
He's unflappable.
He doesn't even need a reason. I'm here to beat you. Right.
And you know what? I think sometimes when you are the guy, that it's tough to consistently be the guy. Not that anyone questions him on the field, but just the mental battle of it, the attention. I bet you he's the happiest that Travis Kelce is dating Taylor Swift. Because now when people talk about the Chiefs, it's not Mahomes who, but from just a general standpoint, tonight they have their podiums together, Mahomes and Kelce. Everyone, and then some, is just going to want to be talking to Travis Kelce. And he loves the attention, Kelce.
Yeah, and Travis is one of those guys that has the kind of personality that he can, and that's not even a distraction for him, is it? Most guys who would maybe have this kind of dating choice would kind of get caught up in it all. Not Travis Kelce, because he's such a magnet for the eyeballs and for the attention of the viewing audience. It sort of feeds him. It sort of adds to who he is. I remember as a younger player, he had this reality show. I think.
The dating show,
Chasing Kelce.
Yeah.
And I remember I was there doing games. I said, "Hey, Travis," I said, "Coach Reed lets you do this in season?" He was like, "Yeah, Coach is fine. He's cool with it." And I even asked Andy. He was like, "No, you got to know Travis to know that this is no problem for him." I remember this is like an old school coach at Andy Reid, who had a sense of understanding who Travis Kelce was and is, for him to say yes to that kind of project in season. And boy, did they turn out to be right, because nothing has served as a distraction for Travis Kelce.
No, and it takes away from everything else with the team when you usually have to go, because Reed talked about the mental grind of just being there every single year. And I know it's all like first world problems. You're living in the penthouse. You're going to all these Super Bowls. You're winning a bunch of them. But when your offseason does get cut short and you're there all the time, and just getting an AFC Championship game or the Super Bowl isn't good enough. It's Super Bowl or bust every year.
That's right.
I think the team has had fun with the whole Taylor Swift thing.
Yeah, they've had a lot of fun with that. It's been refreshing. Think about it. Everyone was pointing fingers at the receivers, wanting guys to get cut, and asking Andy Reid, when are you getting rid of these guys? And Patrick Mahomes is having to deal with some frustrations. And next thing you know, Taylor Swift shows up and
saves the day.
But she's driving also the economics of
crazy.
the league.
I just awful announcing right here. Boomer Esiason, your former quarterback. Taylor Swift might demand NFL cover Super Bowl travel expense from Tokyo. You know this. The NFL doesn't genuflect to anyone. They have genuflected to Taylor Swift because
she moves the needle.
And you don't need to bring more eyeballs to the NFL, but she does it.
She does it. And think about what she's done for the Chiefs. She's done the same things for the Chiefs. She's a what we call economic stimulus package. And you might not need it, but you're sure not mad when you get it.
Yeah, no, 100%. We all experienced that a few years ago. Well, you probably did. You make too much money. Solomon Wilcott's with us. Is Burrow the only hope in the AFC right now. When he's healthy, he's been the one guy that has been able to go toe-to-toe with Mahomes that's still active.
I know, right? I thought Lamar Jackson might be able to break through and and to become a more formidable opponent.
Yeah.
For Patrick Mahomes.
I have more confidence in Josh Allen than Lamar.
And and I thought it would be Josh. If you go back and look in all of these games that the Bills lose, particularly in the postseason to the Chiefs, Josh plays great.
Yeah, he does.
His production level is phenomenal. I mean, he does his part. It's a team-driven thing. There's no doubt about it. But I do think if you're Josh Allen, I think you have the stuff to kind of break through there. But Joe Burrow is the only one that's broken through. He's won 3 of the 4 games when they played against one another. I could see a mutual respect when those games have concluded. When Patrick Mahomes comes over to Joe Burrow, you could tell there's this high level of respect. And Pat Mahomes knows he's got to bring his best to beat that guy. And Joe Burrow already knows that, that's the guy we're all chasing. They're all chasing Patrick Mahomes. So, look, if the NFL is smart, Zach, they're going to make sure those 2 guys are playing against one another every year, right?
Are the injuries a concern with Burrow? I know it's been 2 years where his season has ended. We all know what the talent does he have. Does that just start to scare the crap out of you?
I think it should be. I think we all those of us who were around for Andrew Luck, right?
Yeah.
Transcending talent, winner, smart, has the temperament to handle what comes with that job. But yet they didn't protect him enough. He got hit early and often in his career, and he rode off into the sunset. It's almost like a dream that went unfulfilled, and that's not good. No one. I mean, it didn't leave the Colts in a good spot. It left us wondering what could have been for Andrew Luck. He's going to be fine in life. There's no doubt. You don't get the sense that he's living with some great deal of regret. However, we're the ones who lose out as football fans,
100%.
right? And I think with Joe Burrow, he's already shown and proven what he is and what he was. He went further in the cycle in those 4 years than what Andrew Luck has gone through because he got his team to the Super Bowl, right? He's won and took his team to back-to-back AFC title games.
And if he had an extra half second in that Super Bowl, he had Jamar Chase right down the right sideline. But Aaron Donald wanted to make everyone a ragdoll.
If his own defensive lineman or linebacker doesn't hit Patrick Mahomes out of bounds.
Yeah, in the AFC Championship game.
They may, who knows, right? But they're right there. They're right there. Mm-hmm. And it's really about doing everything you can to protect Joe Burrow, but also teaching him and understand how to protect himself. I remember in 2021, they played the Green Bay Packers earlier in that season. Aaron Rodgers ran over, and you could tell he talked to him, and he said, "Hey, man, don't be taking these hits. You need to get down more." You could tell he was saying he wanted to see him take care of himself. But Joe plays with a certain kind of mentality and certain physicality. But everyone wants to see him on the field competing in this game. He makes our game better when he's playing.
Yeah,
really
absolutely.
Does.
And also, right, in Brady's years of excellence in New England, the Jets never got their act together. The Dolphins never got their act together. The Bills never got their act together. Inside the AFC West, and I like the Raiders' hire of Antonio Pierce. The Chargers, that's got to be the team because now you have an elite head coach in Jim Harbaugh. And then Herbert, I think he is good. I want to see if he could be great. And if Harbaugh can't get that out of him, then he's just one of those good, not great quarterbacks. But that's a direct competition.
Players take on the personality of their head coach. He's got a coach that's got a dog in him.
Yeah.
And trust me when I tell you, get ready for the new improved Justin Herbert. There's no doubt. Because to me, that's the only element missing from his game.
Yeah,
is that dog of just refusing to lose, refusing to go down unless you win this game.
And the coaches in that division, like Sean Payton, phenomenal coach.
Yeah.
But I don't got a quarterback right now.
That's right. He ran him out of town, didn't he?
Yeah, Antonio Pierce doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah,
we know Andy.
Yeah.
I don't think Andy Reid's walking away after this game.
They ran their quarterback out of town.
Yeah, and
What's up with this league that coaches that don't want to get rid of quarterbacks? Like, that's what Josh McDaniel was doing. That's what Sean Payton did.
Well, Derek, I was okay with getting rid of Derek.
Yeah, but hey, look, if not him, then who? That's the point, right? Mm-hmm. If you're gonna run him out, tell me who's coming through that door.
Well, this is what we realize: good quarterbacks make great quarterback money, and when you want to get rid of the good quarterback, you're not wrong it's tough to then make that next step and find the next guy.
Ask Devontae Adams about that.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, just think about it. I mean, it's like that to me is what it's really about. It's the team around that player, and how does that player handle his team, and then if it's not him, tell me who it's going to be.
Yeah. Wrap it up with Solomon Wilcots. We'll get to Macy.com in just a second. Who's winning this game on Sunday? Are you going like everyone else and picking Kansas City, even though the 49ers are favorite?
It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Oh, okay. I like that.
High-scoring game. I'm picking Kansas City 42-38 because that's Patrick Mahomes.
Really high scoring.
That's Patrick Mahomes. Oh, yeah. It's going to be high. Look,
some people say high scoring. They're like, 34-31.
No.
You win.
49ers, man, that offense is a juggernaut. It's the fourth offense in NFL history to have a quarterback with 4,000 yards passing and 4 players with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage. Not just any guy. You got a guy in Christian McCaffrey. It's his second season over 2,000 yards from scrimmage, right? 20-plus touchdowns this season and during the regular season. I mean, he is phenomenal in terms of his production. But Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, explosive playmakers everywhere. And then you got Patrick Mahomes, and that's all you need to say, right? Now, I got to say this. The reason why I feel like the Chiefs are going to win, 49ers run defense scares me. They give up a lot of points. They give up a lot of rush yards. And if you can't stop the run, it's going to be tough to win.
All right, tell me about what you're doing today, www.macy.com. Solomon Wilcots here with us.
What if I told you that if you had cartilage damage, that we can use your own cells to grow your cartilage tissue. We go back in and reinsert it. It adheres to the healthy cartilage and to the bone to allow you to have healthy knees, whether you're a weekend warrior or an NFL ball player. That's what Macy does. It uses your own stem cells to grow your cartilage and help you recover from cartilage damage in the knee. You can go to Macy.com, MACI.com, to find a doctor in your area, to find out more about this innovative treatment.
He is Solomon Wilcots. Solomon, always good to see you. Thanks so much.
Great to see you, Zach. Thanks for having us.
Zach Gelb Show, CBS Sports Radio. When we come on back, something that LeBron James, his camp is trying to spew that I'm just not buying. Update time first. Let's send it back to New York City. Here's the Act Man, Rich Ackerman.
CBS Sports Radio. Sports Flash.
All right. Super Bowl opening night about to get underway with the Chiefs at the podium first, to be followed by the 49ers a little later on. The Commanders have their new coach and now their coordinators as well. Joe Witt Jr. joining the team as defensive coordinator, and former Cardinals coach Cliff Kingsbury is running the offense. Le'Veon Bell has been out of football for 2 years, out of Pittsburgh since 2017, but reportedly wants back in with the Steelers. Bobby Witt Jr.'s career is off to a nice start. And today, he received the largest extension in team history, getting an 11-year deal from the Royals worth $290 million. After just 2 years in the big leagues, he did hit 30 home runs a year ago. The Cavaliers go for their 6th in a row tonight against the Kings. Donovan Mitchell had 31 to lead the way Saturday in San Antonio, but more encouraging to his head coach, Mr. Bickerstaff, was the output by Evan Mobley and Jarrett Allen, who had 54 combined. The Clippers have pulled to within a game of the Western Conference lead. They go for their 4th straight in Atlanta tonight. LA 25-5 since early December. I'm Rich Ackerman.
Hey, this is JR. Let's hang out weeknights here on CBS Sports Radio for my show, The JR Sport Brief, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific.
CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick. From the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on CBS Sports Radio. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide on CBS Sports Radio. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Zach Gelb Show, CBS Sports Radio. I think my favorite person inside this convention center is Dan Silverman, who does a great job. Just a great job, on-site engineer. And, I was sitting here, and I realized the only thing I had to eat today was a protein bar. And my sleep schedule, I actually had good sleep last night, but it's all out of whack, with the time zone change and all that. Like, Samter texted me, when he was checking into the hotel last night. I was already out for 2 hours just sleeping. And Dan Silverman goes, I'm hungry, I'm going to get sandwiches. Which usually we have a lot of food at this Radio Row. For some reason, there ain't that food here right now. And maybe I'm going to create a fake credential so I could go, schmooze over to some of these other networks and just take their food and just basically have my buffet right at the of choice. I don't know the last time I had a Subway sandwich. I really don't. But Dan Silverman just brought me back a grilled chicken with chipotle mayo, lettuce, tomato, and cucumbers. It was phenomenal. And I think there was a little provolone, a hint of provolone cheese as well. If I was on the pit crew trying to change the tires, this is an analogy that I would use for NASCAR, I have to do it real quickly. That was the way that I just devoured that sandwich during the break. So now I am fed nicely. I'm in a good mood. And I could only thank Dan Silverman for that one. Now, anyway, enough of Dan Silverman. We got to get to a little Ask the Pros question of the day. It's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, and it's brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You could submit a question by tweeting at CBS Sports Radio or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. You could thank O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent, and I mean excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Our guy, Delta 9 Brian, chimes in. He goes, Zach, what is your favorite bet for the big game? Plus 411. It's the only bet so far that I placed on the game, and I placed it last week. Anytime touchdown, parlay. George Kittle, who's been dealing with a little bit of a foot injury this week and last week, and then Travis Kelce. I like big personalities in the big game. There is no way that Travis Kelce is not scoring a touchdown. Kittle, I guess, is the riskier play, but you got to feel a little uncomfortable to win money, as the great Stu Feiner would say. So you got to feel a little uncomfortable with one. I'm actually very comfortable, though, and I feel confident with George Kittle. So maybe I should just say that I'm uncomfortable so I could start to maybe win some dinero coming up on Sunday. And, man, this turns into an expensive trip with tickets to the game. I'm going to the Golden Knights game on Tuesday night. I still got to find someone to go with. Did I tell you what transpired here with the Golden Knight tickets, Samter? You may be going to the Golden Knights game tomorrow free of charge because I wouldn't charge you. But I thought I had a free ticket for the Golden Knights game, and then I found out that they were not free tickets. And not as much as what you said, but pretty close. And I was just assuming it was one person going on those tickets. Now it's two people going on those tickets. So I have to find another person. If I can't find someone that's willing to pay the price out of the kindness of my heart, or maybe actually Dan. Well, no, Dan's busy on Tuesday. I was going to say after getting me that sandwich, maybe I would have just taken him free of charge. But Dan has some big fancy schmancy dinner that he didn't invite us to. Real nice guy. Maybe I'll end up bringing you. You want to see some? You want to do that hockey on Tuesday?
That's certainly a possibility. I'm looking for. I've never seen Connor McDavid play, and I feel like that could be fun.
I'm just impressed that you actually got his name correctly.
Well, listen, I know enough about hockey.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say Conor McGregor for a second. I
can pronounce the names of the American and the Canadian players, but when you start asking me about the Eastern European players, Igor Vela, I can't do anything.
Shesterkin?
That one. There you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's probably. There's a lot of names that I could give you that don't sound right on the radio, and I don't want Stu to be dumping anything or thinking about dumping something in the final segment of the show. Talking about something that doesn't make sense. Stu, you know that there's a lot of crap recently with your Lakers, correct, Amundo?
That's right. Absolutely.
So Rich Paul makes it clear that LeBron's not getting traded. We know that LeBron could opt out after this year. So the Knicks are playing the Lakers over the weekend. The Lakers win. And LeBron is wearing a Knicks towel over his head while he's doing some interview after the game. Now, I know the Knicks were just recently speculated as one of those teams that could be interested in LeBron James. Who knows if that actually has legs or not? And who knows what LeBron James is going to do over the summer. All I know is he's going to opt out, and either he will stay in L.A. for another year or go wherever Bronny goes if Bronny does come out. But the mouthpiece for LeBron James, Brian Windhorst, or as his friends call him, Windy, he was on his own podcast, and this is what Brian Windhorst had to say about the towel that was a Knicks towel that LeBron James was, I guess, draping over himself after the game. Listen up.
LeBron, this is what he excels at. He computes all this stuff. Of course, he was cognizant and aware that he was putting on a towel that said New York Knicks. And why would he mess with the Knicks? Because he was using the Knicks as a tool to pressure the Lakers.
Stu, I'm going to try to not yell right now. I want to be peaceful. I want to have a moment of zen, let's just say, and do some yoga right now and be very just at peace in the final 5 minutes of the show. And how could my day be bad when Dan Silverman just gave me a Subway sandwich and I got Moist Mike sitting to my right? Life cannot be better for yours truly. With all that being said, though, a Knicks towel is now being used as leverage to try to put pressure on the Lakers to do a deal from now until the trade deadline. Is this what we're really doing, Stu?
Yeah.
Don't tell me this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Don't tell me that this mouthpiece for LeBron James in Windhorse, he's now pushing that a towel with a Knicks logo is pressure on the Lakers. That's bullcrap. I almost just said a word that I couldn't say, Stu.
Yeah, seriously, you were going to get dumped.
That's just like, you don't actually believe that, do you? I know LeBron puts out the hourglass. I know that LeBron wants the Lakers to do something. What are the Lakers doing from now until the trade deadline when they could only trade 1 first-round pick, and then this summer I was reading that they could trade 3 first-round picks? What are they doing that is not only just going to improve the team, but make this team a championship contender this year? There's nothing, right?
There's nothing, Nicky. There's not a singular trade or move they can make that'll make them a championship contender. No way.
I'm tired of LeBron. I am. I like LeBron, but I'm tired of him. The drama this year, your team stinks, okay? Your team stinks. You're not winning a championship. You're not winning a championship again in Los Angeles. This is what happens. LeBron, he goes to place, he wins a lot, and then he leaves, and the organizations most of the time usually go to bleep. Like, that's just what happens. And I'm fine with it because you know, one of those teams, you get the good times, and the Lakers got a championship out of this. But the drama now, at this stage of his career, he's better than that. He is. And I know Windhorst and him don't have the greatest relationship anymore, but that was his guy. To now use the towel with a Knicks logo, and this is some grand plan of LeBron James. Stu, if this is really his plan, I'm out on LeBron. I'm out. I'm done. I am done with LeBron James, Stu, if this is some big plan. This cannot actually have legs to it, right?
I don't think so, but you never know. I'm kind of with you. Like, I'm kind of over it, too. Like, if it's after the season, he's gone, I'm not going to really shed a tear. I'm kind of over it as well.
Wow. Now, Samter, I got to ask you this. Stu has been beaten down a lot by his teams. You guys usually could relate. The difference between you and Stu doesn't jump ship. He's a loyal person. He doesn't say, ugh, I'm done with this team. I'm just going to go to the new team and the great team and the team. Stu sounds beaten down. The Raiders brought him to edge, and then they gave him a little Antonio Pierce, so that sucked him back in. He is donezo with the Lakers. He's out.
I mean, cry me a river, Stu. The world's smallest violin. I mean, you won a championship 2 years ago. You've got the most championship, or second most championships in NBA history.
Yeah, I've seen 6 rings. Yeah,
you know, so like, cry me a river, right?
Stu just said, Samter, shut up.
Yeah,
I mean,
6
rings.
Like, honestly, yeah, I don't care, man. It's the world's smallest violin. It's like me complaining about being a Yankee fan, right? I've been to 4 World Series.
You do complain a lot about the Yankees.
I don't really care about that. I don't talk about the Yankees very much at all.
I don't know about that.
I don't complain. Listen, I witnessed 4 championships, 5 championships. I got to go to the World Series games. I don't complain about that stuff. So Stu complaining about LeBron and the Lakers, and they went to the Western Conference Finals last year. They won a title 3 years ago. He'll be fine.
Well, to be fair, I don't think Stu was complaining about the Lakers. I just asked him a question, and he agreed with me.
I'm just complaining about LeBron. I'm just tired of LeBron.
Yeah, and
as you should be.
Stu's a Raider, a Notre Dame fan, a Lakers fan, a Yankees fan, a Liverpool fan. Liverpool's leading the Premier League table right now. I mean, like, Stu likes to go with winners.
Jets for the Chiefs. Yeah, you have no argument here.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I stuck with the Jets the whole time until then.
Anyway, that concludes day number 1 on Radio Row. Mike Pritchard, Solomon Wilcots, Eric Eager, Thomas Dimitrov, Brian Billick, Solomon Wilcots as well. Thank you. Trevor Lawrence going to join us tomorrow. I'm excited for that conversation. The guests will only keep on getting bigger and bigger throughout the week. We'll talk manana, everybody. I guess I'll get the times right. 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break.